urban cultivation, starting my immortal path from key refining level 1. Hey! Look who's back for more adventures. We love having you here to continue this story that keeps us all awake. Important note, all of this is pure fiction, so don't try any techniques you hear here in real life. Your neighbor might call the cops. This amazing novel and all its rights belong to the original author. We're just the ones giving it voice and drama. Are you enjoying the show? Prove it by subscribing to our YouTube channel and leaving that like that motivates us so much. And if you want VIP access to exclusive content, our Patreon is waiting with things you won't find anywhere else. Chapter 651. 6 months later, 10 gods entered the earth. Yes, Yanlong nodded solemnly, then said, you only know that more than 2,000 years ago, I used the space gate to take away all the powerful people on Earth, but what you don't know is that to this day, there are still native quasi-emperors on Earth. They used some means to escape my perception and hid in the corners of the Earth. Those quasi-emperors were decisive enough. Knowing that they were no match for me, they never showed up from beginning to end, Yanlong said seriously, but I still sensed their presence, but I couldn't determine their specific location. That's why I have been staying on Earth, hoping to find their whereabouts and catch them all in one fell swoop. But who knew that the bastard blood demon would actually return to Earth from outside the domain, and his strength has become extremely powerful. Among the quasi-emperors, he is also one of the best. A sharp light flashed in Yanlong's eyes, and he gritted his teeth and said, even for me, it would be difficult to kill it easily. In the end, I was seriously injured before I defeated it. That's not right. Tuoba Bodhisattva frowned and said, as far as I know, you have the space gate, which allows you to reach the highest level of sublimation on Earth in a short period of time. You can wipe out the blood demon at the quasi-emperor level with just a wave of your hand. The highest level of sublimation can only be used once. If Yanlong uses it to deal with the blood demon, it will be difficult for him to deal with other quasi-emperors on Earth, right? Yubei I guessed. Yes, Yanlong nodded and said, that day, after I was seriously injured, I could no longer stay on Earth. Originally, when I was in my prime, the several quasi-emperors who survived on Earth could not do anything to me. If they joined forces to attack me, I began to sublimate to the utmost and could kill them back, but after being seriously injured, I didn't have the strength to fight back when facing a quasi-emperor. Although I can sublimate to the utmost once, if the quasi-emperors of Earth take turns to fight, my life will inevitably be in danger, Yanlong said helplessly. Therefore, just in case, I had to flee Earth. For a long time afterwards, I was recuperating. Not long ago, I sent 4 men in the spirit transformation realm to Earth, hoping that they could lure out the quasi-emperor of Earth, and I will take action after the deadline. Yanlong smiled bitterly and said, unfortunately, the quasi-emperor of Earth did not show up. Just 10 days ago, I sensed that one of the people I sent died in Kunlun Mountain. If nothing unexpected happens, it should be the work of the Immortal Emperor Xuantian. Immortal Emperor Xuantian, when Yu Baiyu heard this, he couldn't help but ask curiously, I wanted to ask just now. Back then, Immortal Emperor Xuantian made a bet with us. The bet was that if Su Wuji couldn't fight against the ominousness with his own strength, he would be considered the loser, and he would no longer be involved in the affairs of Earth, and Su Wuji has already lost. He died in the nascent soul thunder tribulation more than 100 years ago, and Immortal Emperor Xuantian also disappeared because of this. Did he accept the loss and leave Earth? Why do you still say that he appeared on Earth? Yubei was very puzzled. This Xuantian Immortal Emperor is really taking advantage of the situation, Yanlong said angrily, if it's as I expected. He gave up his original body, reincarnated as a soul, grew up on Earth, and completely transformed into an Earthling. About 2 or 3 months ago, he recovered his memory and woke up. Now he may have succeeded in building his foundation, Yanlong said worriedly. If we give him some more time, there is no guarantee that he will grow into an Immortal Emperor again and pose a threat to us. In addition to him, the blood demon has also been reborn. We must not let them grow up, otherwise it will be disadvantageous to us. Yanlong, just tell me, what needs to be done? Asked Tuoba Bodhisattva. The Earth's protective formation has been strengthened again. With my own strength, it is difficult to send cultivators in the spirit transformation realm to the Earth, Yanlong said, and the cultivation level of the nascent soul realm will be reduced when it arrives on Earth, and at most it can have the strength of the core formation realm. Nowadays, the ancient martial arts transformation of the Earth has begun, and there are already many martial arts masters comparable to the core formation realm. The core formation realm can't do anything big, so I would like to ask you to join me in making a move, tearing a gap, and sending 10 spirit transformations to the earth, while the blood demon and the Xuantian Immortal Emperor have not grown up. Strangle them in the cradle, strengthened again. Upon hearing this, Tuoba Bodhisattva carefully stared at the blue star field below. After some exploration, his face became solemn, and he muttered to himself, "Sure enough, the Earth's protective formation is mysterious and unpredictable, and it has been strengthened a bit. If a few more are added, I'm afraid that even if the three of us work together, we won't be able to tear the gap, let alone enter the Earth." Tuoba Bodhisattva looked at Yanlong, nodded decisively and said, "Okay, when will we make a move?" "Now," Yanlong said sternly. "Time waits for no one. Even if we act now, it will probably take another 6 months to break through." Immortal Emperor Baiyu, what do you think? Of course, no problem. Back when I first achieved the Immortal Emperor title, I was incredibly frivolous and joined you in sending Immortal Emperor Xuantian to the 9 netherworlds. Yu Baiyu said calmly, "I naturally don't want to see him grow up again. If I could kill him, that would be the best." But, suddenly, Yu Baiyu changed his tone and looked at Yanlong, curiously asking, "Immortal Emperor Yanlong, I want to know why you have been plotting against Earth for over 2,000 years. Yu Baiyu didn't know the reason. He had only joined Yanlong's camp at the invitation of Immortal Emperor Yanlong. Over 2,000 years ago, Earth's protective formation was already very powerful. Yanlong could open a breach, but he couldn't enter Earth himself. Yanlong had researched and found that only the combined efforts of 3 Immortal Emperors could send an Immortal Emperor to Earth. So, he sought out Yu Baiyu and Tuoba Bodhisattva. Therefore, not only did Yu Baiyu not know the reason, but Tuoba Bodhisattva didn't know either. At this moment, Tuoba Bodhisattva also looked at Yanlong curiously, wanting to know the answer. Well, Yanlong paused, then said, "It's not convenient to tell you now, but don't worry, if this succeeds, it will not harm you. Trust me, forget it, I don't care what you want to do. I'm only interested in annihilating the Xuantian Immortal Emperor." Yu Baiyu shook his head and didn't ask any further questions. Then, the 3 Outer Realm Immortal Emperors, Yanlong Immortal Emperor, Baiyu Immortal Emperor, and Tuoba Immortal Emperor, simultaneously activated their techniques and began to attack Earth's protective formation. Over 2,000 years ago, the 3 of them spent over 40 years to open a breach in Earth and send the Yanlong Immortal Emperor to Earth. Over 100 years ago, the Yanlong Immortal Emperor took 2 or 3 years to send the 4 cultivators at the Divine Transformation Realm to Earth. Now that Earth's protective formation has been strengthened, even if the 3 Immortal Emperors work together, it will take at least 6 months to open a breach. However, this is only under normal circumstances. In reality, the Yanlong Immortal Emperor is hiding something. 6 months later, as long as he could tear open a hole, he would be able to enter Earth in full strength. This was his secret, and he hadn't told Tuoba Bodhisattva or Yu Baiyu. Chapter 652 Guo Yi's Opportunity. At this moment, Earth lies in a valley, lush with trees and picturesque scenery. An elderly man, his hair and beard white, sits cross-legged on a blue stone by the stream. Clad in a white robe, he exudes an air of sage-like grace and a transcendental aura. Beside him, a middle-aged man in his 30s or 40s stands respectfully, not daring to cross the line. The middle-aged man has an elegant face and an extraordinary demeanor. Had he lived in ancient times, he would surely have been a strategist whose single words could pacify the world. If Su Yang were present, he would undoubtedly be astonished. This middle-aged man is none other than Guo Yi, the deputy captain of the Su family's secret guards. Back then, Su Yang, recognizing Guo Yi's promising aptitude, gifted him with several energy stones to help him embark on the path of cultivation. However, Su Yang, himself struggling with the spiritual energy of the spirit stones, opted to let Guo Yi go his own way, giving him some energy stones and letting him venture out to make a living. How far he could go depended on Guo Yi's own luck. Su Yang didn't think much of it, considering it an investment. Furthermore, Guo Yi was indeed gifted, and he didn't want Guo Yi to stay with him, lest he be overlooked. At this moment, Guo Yi's aura, Zhou Shen's, was far more powerful than before. Even Zeman Fengyan wouldn't have been able to defeat him easily. Peak Jinden. Indeed, during this period, Guo Yi had already advanced from the first level of key training to the peak of Jinden. This should have been impossible, But thanks to the white-robed elder sitting cross-legged before him, he had achieved it. For this reason, Guo Yi held this sage-like, white-robed elder in special respect. Guo Yi, how long have you been with me? The white-robed elder asked, his eyes still closed. His old, powerful voice echoed through the empty valley. Old sir, less than a month, 24 days, Guo Yi bowed before answering truthfully. 24 days, the old man in white robe smiled lightly and said, in such a short time, I have allowed you to reach the peak of the Jiandan realm. You still refuse to take me in as your master, old sir. I have made it clear to you in advance that I already have a master. It is not convenient for me to become your disciple, Guo Yi said with a firm look. If you want to become your disciple, that's fine, but I need to get my master's consent first. As for my strength, it was voluntarily passed on by you, old sir, and it cannot be used as a bargaining chip for me to become your disciple. Guo Yi continued without any reluctance. If you feel that my behavior makes you dissatisfied, you can just take back my strength. I believe that with your ability, you can definitely do it easily. Guo Yi, can you tell me who your master is that makes you value him so much that you would rather miss the opportunity to reach the sky in one step, but also maintain respect for him? The old man in white robe asked doubtfully. My master, Guo Yi thought of Su Yang, then smiled and said, he is not a saint. Maybe his strength is not as good as mine now, but I will always remember his kindness to me. At the beginning, he didn't even have spirit stones, but he was willing to help me start practicing. Before we parted, he also gave me some energy stones. I have no way to repay this kindness, huh? The old man in white robe heard this and said angrily, Guo Yi, I value your talent. So I will use my own spiritual energy to help you, allowing you to gain such powerful strength in a short period of time. I hope you don't be ungrateful, lest you lose more than you gain. Now I can give you another chance. If you worship me as your master and become my disciple, and from now on no longer contact your so-called master, I will help you step into the nascent soul stage and become a strong man between heaven and earth. The old man in white robe said in a deep voice, if you still refuse, don't blame me for being rude. Not only will I take back your strength, but I will also make your soul fly away. On one side, there's soaring to the sky, on the other, there's eternal damnation. Guo Yi, you'll make the right decision, right? The white-robed elder chuckled coldly. Yes, Guo Yi nodded, my decisions are always the right ones, haha, indeed. This is the prodigy I've chosen. From today on, you'll be my disciple. The white-robed elder, assuming Guo Yi had agreed, was overjoyed. But before he could finish, Guo Yi interrupted, old sir, there's no need for you to do anything. I'll destroy my own Danshan right now. This power of mine comes from you, and I'll give it back to you right now. As he finished speaking, Guo Yi closed his eyes slightly and suddenly raised his hand, intending to strike his own Danshan. Stop! Seeing this, the white-robed elder finally opened his eyes and shouted. In an instant, space froze. Guo Yi stopped his movements instantly. It wasn't that he didn't want to move, but that he couldn't. With a single thought, the white-robed elder paused, and everything around him seemed to pause. Guo Yi was unable to move, and so were the flowers, trees, and even the gurgling stream. Once a word was spoken, all things followed. This was the power of the white-robed old man, so terrifying. Guo Yi, you're quite good. Faced with the temptation of a sudden ascent to heaven, you still managed to hold on to your inner resolve and not be ungrateful. You've passed my test. The white-robed old man stood up and slowly walked towards the motionless Guo Yi. He wasn't tall, even a little short, appearing to be only about 1.45 meters tall. But the aura he exuded was incredibly powerful, crushing the surrounding space and causing it to tremble. The white-robed old man stepped into the air, and wherever he passed, the air automatically diverted. I have been observing you for the past 24 days, and I have discovered that you have an extremely high talent for cultivation. Among all my disciples, no one can compare with you, the white-robed old man continued. To be honest, I have 500 disciples. The opportunity I gave you was also given to them. However, in the past 24 days, their advancement speed was not as fast as yours. The strongest disciple has only reached the middle stage of the core formation. Of course, when I accept disciples, talent in cultivation is only one aspect. What I value most is this. As he spoke, the white-robed old man pointed to his head and said, after getting to know you over this period of time, I found that you are good at strategy, and you have your own ideas, especially just now. You knew that I had put in a lot of effort to promote you to the peak of the core formation, and I would not really kill you. What I said before was just to scare you, so you retreated to advance, and tried to destroy the Danshin yourself, forcing me to step in to stop you. The white-robed old man raised his hand and waved, and the scene returned to normal. The stream continued to flow, the birds and insects continued to chirp, and Guoyi could also move. The old man in the white robe looked at Guoyi with a smile on his face, and chuckled softly. Guoyi, is it true or not? Sure enough, I can't hide it from you, old sir. Guoyi met the old man's gaze and said, since you have seen through me, old sir, why did you try to stop me? Chapter 653 The Identity of the White Robe Old Man. Of course I'm giving you a way out. After all, you're my disciple, the white-robed elder said with a smile, stroking his beard. Old sir, I'm mistaken. I never agreed to become your disciple, Guoyi said sternly. Haha, that's enough. The tactic of playing hard to get was originally my idea, the white-robed elder smiled and said, you're playing hard to get just to gain my attention, to increase your leverage. In reality, you craved strength more than anyone else. You can hide your desire for power from others, but not from me. So how could you miss this opportunity? Guoyi didn't object, but his expression was slightly flustered. Clearly, the white-robed elder had hit the nail on the head. You don't have to panic. The desire to become stronger is a necessary determination for every cultivator. If you don't have this determination, I may not take a fancy to you. The old man in white robe smiled lightly, and asked, I'm just curious, are you really in awe of the master you mentioned, or are you just pretending? It's true that I want to become stronger, and it's also true that I fear the master, Guoyi said seriously. Old sir, since you have seen through my thoughts, there is nothing for me to pretend. I do desire to become a real strong man, but the same thing goes, I can't become your disciple without the master's permission. Are you still willing to help me? Of course. The old man in white robe nodded, smiled lightly and said, from now on, you can call me old sir, and I will make you have top strength as soon as possible. Thank you very much, old sir, Guoyi bowed and said politely. No need to be so formal. The old man in white robe smiled and said, in half a year at most, I can allow you to advance to the nascent soul stage. By then, you can leave the mountain and return to Jiangbei. Jiangbei, Guoyi was surprised when he heard that, and asked in confusion, old sir, you just said you were going back to Jiangbei, and you used the word return. Do you know that I'm from Jiangbei? The old man in white robe did not answer the question directly, but said, in half a year, something big will happen in Jiangbei. Your master needs you. You have to work hard in the next 6 months. What big thing is it? Guoyi couldn't help but ask. This is a major event concerning the ancient martial arts world. Although I wasn't involved in the planning back then, this matter concerns Earth. Whether it can escape the extraterritorial Immortal Emperor depends on the events that will occur in half a year. Naturally, I won't stand idly by, the white-robed elder continued, it's not just me. I'm sure those guys should take action as well. Alice, over 2,000 years ago, a few of us old fellows sensed the power of the extraterritorial Immortal Emperor and dared not challenge him, choosing to live in the world. I watched helplessly as my former friends, 500 disciples, and countless powerful beings on Earth were taken through the special gate, but I could do nothing. This time, my time is up, and I must fight for it. The white-robed elder seemed to recall the past, his expression no longer calm. He looked up at the sky, his eyes deep. Guoyi was confused and had no idea what the white-robed elder was talking about. After a pause of a few seconds, Guoyi asked again, old sir, can you tell me, what realm are you in? Well, it's okay to tell you. The white-robed old man smiled and said, the path of cultivation begins with refining ki, then building the foundation, forming the elixir, the nascent soul, and the spirit transformation. After the spirit transformation, it is time to transcend the tribulation. After overcoming the tribulation, you will eventually become an immortal emperor. The white-robed old man chuckled lightly and said, I have transcended the tribulation, but have not reached the level of immortal emperor. If you give me time, I will definitely be able to advance to the real immortal emperor. So in layman's terms, I am considered a quasi-immortal emperor, quasi-immortal emperor. Guoyi was extremely shocked when he heard this, and asked with horror, regarding cultivation, I have also heard some legends. Isn't there a law of power between heaven and earth? Aren't cultivators on earth unable to set foot on the elixir? Otherwise they will suffer from ominous troubles. How come you? The laws of heaven you mentioned were set up by several immortal emperors from outside the domain. They have no effect on cultivators who touch the emperor level. I see. This was the first time Guo Yi had heard this statement, and a thought suddenly struck him. He then asked, "Old sir, I'm a far cry from the immortal emperor realm you mentioned. So how can I reach the core formation stage and remain untroubled by ominous signs?" "Because I'm by your side," the white-robed elder replied. "With me here, my quasi-emperor law will protect you, and ominous signs naturally won't bother you in the slightest." Guo Yi nodded as if understanding, then asked, "Will you come with me to Jiangbei in 6 months?" "No," the white-robed elder shook his head. 6 months from now, that's when I'll appear. If I do, it will only trigger a series of negative reactions. Then how can I get to Jiangbei on my own? Without you, won't I be plagued by ominous signs? Guo Yi asked, puzzled. Haha, don't worry about it. By then, I'll naturally repay you by helping you reach the nascent soul stage and travel the world, the white-robed elder said confidently. Hearing the other party say this, Guo Yi felt relieved, but he still had a doubt and couldn't help asking, "Old sir, you just mentioned more than 2,000 years ago? Your age must be more than 20 centuries. You are so amazing. You must have left a name in the long river of history. Can you tell me your name?" Guo Yi bowed and asked respectfully. "Fame is but a fleeting cloud. If you want to know, I can tell you." The white-robed elder smiled and said, "Your guess is correct. I am quite famous throughout history, but this fame was not earned by me, but by my disciples. I've mentioned before that I have 500 disciples, many of whom are incredibly talented and have left a lasting mark on history." The white-robed elder continued, "Back then, I didn't come out because the time wasn't right. The world couldn't be unified, and no one could do it, only by waiting for the ancestral dragon, born with a destiny of heaven and earth. Can the 4 seas and 8 wildernesses be unified, and the might of the 9 heavens and 10 earths be reigned supreme?" But my disciples refused to believe it and insisted on trying, hoping to defy fate. Obviously, they failed. The white-robed elder didn't get angry. Instead, as if he were a child who had misbehaved and caused a little trouble, he thought back to his 500 disciples with a kind look in his eyes. "Ancestral dragon, are you talking about the unparalleled emperor, the first emperor?" Guo Yi pressed excitedly. The white-robed elder nodded. "Indeed, before Zulong was born, your disciples dominated the world. Doesn't that mean it was during the Warring States period? May I ask, old sir, who exactly are you?" Guo Yi asked excitedly, his face full of anticipation. "Haha, I'll tell you the names of a few of my disciples, and you'll know." The white-robed elder stroked his beard and then rattled off several historical figures Guo Yi was incredibly familiar with. Guo Yi lost his composure, his face filled with astonishment. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 654 Giguzi. Su Qin, Zhang Yi, Sun Bin, Shang Yang, Li Si, Su Fu, Mao Sui. All of these people were, surprisingly, disciples of the white-robed elder. They were all historical figures, their names immortalized through the ages, their stories still told to this day. As a modern man, Guo Yi was naturally astonished to hear the names of these renowned masters. Even more astonishing, of course, was the identity of the white-robed elder. He was their master. "You have 500 disciples, Su Qin, Zhang Yi, Sun Bin, Shang Yang, all your disciples. So, you?" Guo Yi looked at the white-robed elder and asked in a trembling voice, "Are you Giguzi?" "Yes," the white-robed elder stroked his beard and nodded in acknowledgement. "I am Xuanwa Yizhunren, Giguzi, Giguzi. Truly Giguzi." Guo Yi had once fought on the battlefield with Su Shenbing, serving as his military advisor, offering his advice. Throughout his life, he had read countless ancient military texts, each etched with the influence of Giguzi. Guo Yi's greatest admirer was also Giguzi. In his heart, he was an insurmountable mountain. The saying "looking up to a lofty mountain" probably captures this feeling. At this moment, Guo Yi had seen Giguzi alive, and his shock and joy were hard to conceal. "Senior, please accept my humble respects." Guo Yi knelt and bowed deeply before Giguzi. "Oh," Giguzi smiled, surprised, and said, "You are willing to become my disciple, I have read your works and those of many of your disciples since childhood. Although I am not your disciple, I consider you my master." Guoyi didn't directly answer. But his refusal was clear. It wasn't that Guoyi was waiting for a price, but rather that he felt such a significant matter required his master's approval. If it weren't for Su Yang's connection, he would have readily accepted Guozi's teachings without hesitation. After all, this would make Su Qin, Zhang Yi, and others he admired as fellow disciples. What an honor. "You kid, forget it, you don't have to pay homage, but sooner or later, you'll respectfully call me master and become a disciple of Guozi." Guozi didn't mind, saying, "For the next 6 months, don't go anywhere else. Stay in the valley and cultivate well to prepare for the upcoming changes in Jiangbei." "Yes," Guoyi replied respectfully. "Jiangbei half a year from now will determine the survival of the earth." After giving these instructions, Guozi raised his head and gazed towards the sky, thinking to himself, "The Immortal Emperor from beyond will definitely prevent the revival of spiritual energy, thereby better controlling the earth." Wang Yangming of the Xianji sect once saw a glimpse of the future. "An Immortal Emperor from beyond will retain all his strength and appear on earth. That's the realm of a true Immortal Emperor. Even if a few old fellows from earth join forces, they won't be able to contend with him." Thinking of this, a gleam of light flashed in Guozi's eyes. Under the whole sky, the only person who can stop the Immortal Emperor from beyond is probably Zulong. Zulong is destined to sweep across the world. Before he appears, no one can unify the world. My disciples, fighting openly and secretly, were unable to change Zulong's destiny. He eventually became the greatest emperor of all time, ruling over the mountains and rivers. Over 2,000 years ago, Zulong sensed the spying of the Immortal Emperor from beyond the realm. Seeking a solution, he shattered the void and journeyed alone to the outer realms. Before leaving, he told me to remain patient, believing he would return sooner or later. Guozi muttered to himself. Now, over 2,000 years have passed. I wonder what Zulong has become of him, whether he has gained the ability to stop the Immortal Emperor from beyond the realm. Also, who is that all-powerful figure who appeared on Earth over 100 years ago? Why do I sense a familiar aura about him? Is he from Earth, or from beyond the realm? Guozi was puzzled and ultimately gave up on further speculation. "Senior, how are your disciples, Su Qin, Zhang Yi, and others, doing now? Are they still alive?" Guoyi couldn't help but ask. These people were his idols, and if they were still alive, Guoyi naturally wanted to meet them. Over 2,000 years ago, the Immortal Emperors from outer space attempted to invade Earth. Most of them devoted themselves to the natural formation protecting Earth, transforming into its energy. Some were taken away from the outer realm, their fate uncertain. Guozi's eyes flickered with sadness as he mentioned this. Then he said, "However, 2 of my disciples are still alive." "Which 2?" Guoyi pressed. Guozi stroked his beard and answered truthfully, "Shang Yang, Bai Qi." "Shang Yang, Bai Qi," Guoyi exclaimed excitedly. "Shang Yang, who reformed and laid the foundation of the Qin state, and Bai Qi, the god of killing who buried hundreds of thousands of enemy soldiers. They're both still alive." "Senior, may I ask what realm Shang Yang and Bai Qi are in now?" Guoyi pressed. "I don't know. I haven't been in touch with them for a long time. I believe they're still in the Quasi-Emperor realm," Guozi replied truthfully. "Quasi-Emperor?" Guoyi's eyes filled with longing, and then he asked in confusion, "Senior, Shang Yang was your disciple, as recorded in history books. But was Bai Qi, the god of death, also your disciple?" "Yes," Guozi nodded and said, "Back then, when I was away, I took him in and taught him the supreme art of war, battle formations, and the miraculous art of marching. As for the fact that there's no record of it in later generations, perhaps he didn't want me to bear the infamy. After all, in the battle, he slaughtered hundreds of thousands of people, committing heinous crimes. He didn't want me to bear the consequences, so he chose to conceal it," Guozi said. "I see," Guoyi suddenly realized. He hadn't expected Bai Qi, the Marquis of Wuhan, to be Guozi's disciple. They should both be waking up soon. I wonder if they'll go to Jiangbei in half a year. Probably not. Before Zulong shattered the void, he left an order that Quasi-Emperor level experts were not allowed to show up. They both obeyed Zulong's orders and shouldn't disobey, Guozi said, his eyes landing on Guoyi. "Okay, I've told you everything you need to know. Now start practicing. I hope you can reach the nascent soul stage or above in half a year. The masters of the divine transformation and tribulation crossing realms on Earth are either dead or have gone to the outer realms. There's already a lack of cultivation among cultivators. If you reach the peak of the nascent soul stage, or even the divine transformation, you'll have absolute say, assuming quasi-emperor doesn't show up. Zhengbei in half a year might need you to take charge, Guguzi continued. Your master, Su Yang, is a descendant of Su Wuji, who has a special relationship with a great figure Tongshan from over 100 years ago. Therefore, as a descendant of the Su family, Su Yang shoulders a heavy responsibility. If you want him to be safe, you have to become stronger yourself. Chapter 655, Shang Junshu, Sky-Breaking Halberd. Okay, Guoyi nodded solemnly, his gaze firm. Guguzi then had Guoyi sit cross-legged and helped him continue his training. Meanwhile, in southern Myanmar, an elderly man, seemingly in his 70s or 80s, dressed in a long robe, walked through a heavily armed village. This village was the world's largest drug trafficking base, a global cancer. Within the village were thousands of heavily armed troops, some even equipped with heavy weaponry. Furthermore, the surrounding civilians were equally corrupt, profiting from drugs and bringing disaster upon the people. The elderly man in the long robe was covered in blood, his face and clothes stained with the blood, some even congealed. It was clear he had fought his way here, leaving corpses strewn everywhere he went and rivers of blood flowing like rivers. The heavily armed soldiers were powerless against him. Their bullets failed to inflict any damage, not even a tear on his clothes. Witnessing the old man's terror, the surviving soldiers were terrified, their faces pale with fear, some even trembling. But finally, the general of the village summoned his courage and coldly called out, Old man, stop. Don't go any further, or we'll treat you rudely." The wrinkled old man didn't stop, nor did he even open his mouth to respond. Bomb, the general, unable to bear it any longer, gave the order. Bang! 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 The next moment, more than a dozen shells blasted in from all directions, striking the old man squarely. Smoke billowed everywhere. "Haha, you didn't dodge, old man. You're dead for sure," the general let out a long sigh, unable to hold back his laughter. He immediately gave an order, "Come, find his remains. I'm going to feed them to the dogs to vent my frustration." The general was about to speak when his voice abruptly stopped. A look of intense panic spread across his face. His voice trembled as he said, "This. How is it possible? A dozen shells would have destroyed even a piece of iron. How could he?" Straight ahead, after the smoke cleared, the old man was found completely unharmed, still walking towards them. Seeing this scene, everyone present was dumbfounded, their eyes filled with intense horror. A doubtful action leads to failure, a doubtful one to no avail. The old man spoke calmly, "Since I'm here, I'm absolutely certain, today, every one of you will die. Not one of you will escape." With these words, the old man launched into action. With a flick of his sleeve, a terrifying force surged forth, instantly slaughtering over a dozen people. The scene was bathed in blood. This included, of course, the general. Seeing the general dead, everyone dropped their weapons in terror and knelt, begging for mercy. To govern by law is like having no horses or cattle, or crossing a river without a boat. The old man was upright and said in a deep voice, "You have harmed and separated many families for your own selfish interests. Your crimes are heinous and you have violated the law first. You should be punished. Today, I am enforcing the law." "No, we were just bewitched by the general. Please spare our lives." "Yes. We are all ordinary people. We were bewitched for a while and did such a thing. Please don't kill us. Please spare our lives. As long as you let us go, we promise that we will never do it again. Our crimes are not capital crimes in any country. You can't kill us. Put down your weapons. We are just ordinary people. We also have wives and children. Please have mercy on us." In order to stay alive, a group of people begged for mercy, and some of them were scared to tears. Governance is not the same. A nation cannot benefit by following the ancient ways, the old man replied sternly, and the law must be strict. Only by respecting the law can a nation be strong. With that, a fierce glint flashed in his eyes. He pulled an ancient book from his bosom and tossed it into the air. Buzz! Instantly, the ancient book released a powerful aura that swept the entire crowd. Almost instantly, thousands of people, men, women, and children, were killed, leaving no one alive. After annihilating them, the ancient book suspended in mid-air shone brightly, revealing three large, gilded characters, the Book of Shangjian. The Book of Shangjian. Yes. This book was the Book of Shangjian, and the octogenarian was, of course, Xiangyang, a disciple of Giguzi. The so-called uniform punishment, no hierarchy of punishment. Violation of the law, must be death. Xuantian glanced coldly at the bodies around him, his eyes devoid of any pity. Then, he raised his head and looked at the sky, with a trace of nostalgia in his eyes. Zulong, you and I are not monarchs and ministers of the same era, but you are the person I admire the most. Zulong was born, swept across the world, unified the 9 states, and determined the destiny of the world. You are worthy of being the greatest emperor of the ages. I, Xuantian, am willing to be your minister for all eternity. Back then, you issued an order that the quasi-emperor must not appear in the world, and my master, Xuanwei's Henren, also warned me. But half a year later, the spiritual energy will revive, and without the quasi-emperor, it will definitely not work. Xuantian said with a firm look, you are like green mountains, and I am like pine and cypress, and we will never let each other down. Zulong, for the sake of the world situation and for the star field you protect, even if I die, what's the harm? Immortal Emperor from outside the domain. Back then, I obeyed Zulong's holy order and chose to hide when you came to Earth. This is the biggest regret of my life. In half a year, let me see how strong you are. With this thought in mind, Xuantian raised his hand slightly, and Shangjianchu's light faded, sinking into his body. Then, Xuantian's figure flashed, and he quickly left, leaving only a strewn of bones on the ground. Remarkably, Suyang was incredibly familiar with Xuantian's face. At the same time, in the desolate mountains and wilderness, the setting sun cast its last rays, and crows wailed from the branches, creating a particularly desolate scene. The area was dotted with graves, and dust filled the air. Suddenly, a large, bloody hand emerged from an inconspicuous grave. The startled crow flapped its wings and flew off into the setting sun. Crack! The next moment, another hand emerged. Then, surprisingly, a man, carrying a halberd, climbed out of the grave. The man, clad in a tattered battle robe and holding a heaven-shattering halberd, stood there in a daze, his eyes piercing with a blank expression. Who am I? The man frowned in thought. After a moment, a fierce glint suddenly flashed in his eyes. I am Bai Qi, the god of death, Bai Qi. I am also the invincible sword wielded by the ancestral dragon. I obey the ancestral dragon's command to protect the mother planet. After muttering to himself, the man, holding the sky-splitting halberd, instantly soared into the sky and disappeared. Xuantian. Bai Qi. All revived, preparing for the spiritual energy resurgence in 6 months. At this time, in Kunlun Mountain, Suyang sat cross-legged with his eyes closed, still immersed in his cultivation, unaware of what was happening outside. Chapter 656, Mountains and Ridges, Dongfang Family. A few days ago, Suyang successfully established his foundation and was currently absorbing low-grade spirit stones. As long as the spirit stones were finally available, a breakthrough would be a natural outcome. Currently, Suyang had already reached the middle stage of foundation establishment and was making a push towards the late stage. If nothing unexpected happened, he would successfully reach the late stage in just a few days. He would then need to pause briefly to refine some elixirs to temper his body. While realm is important, the body is equally crucial. With specialized physical cultivation, relying on the strength of the body, one can crush those of the same realm, even fighting at a higher level. While a lack of medicinal herbs might have been enough before, Suyang now possessed a wealth of ancient medicinal herbs, and naturally sought to enhance his physical strength. Furthermore, he would cultivate secret techniques to expand his combat capabilities. His water dragon technique was clearly no longer suitable, and it was time for him to upgrade his world away. As for the 100 lifetimes reincarnation fist, Suyang had only created it and hadn't delved into it. This retreat was a good opportunity to refine the artistic conception of the 100 lifetimes reincarnation. This artistic conception could be applied not only to boxing, but when combined with sword intent, it would possess even more terrifying power. Furthermore, Suyang planned to thoroughly study the key to the East Palace he had obtained earlier. The Void Tower already had a 4th and 5th floor, so it was time to connect them. Currently, the Void Tower only had 3 floors, adding 2 more would greatly increase its power. Besides these, there was also the Azure Sword. The Azure Sword was no simple object. The more Suyang learned about it, the more mysterious it became. It wasn't a top-grade magical weapon at all, it must have surpassed the highest grade. It was simply damaged, thus possessing only the power of a top-grade weapon. If it could be repaired, It might become a top-grade weapon, adding another trump card to his arsenal. With the treasures now resolved, Xuantian also planned to refine some talismans. He now possessed numerous energy stones, a red cloud stone, and 2 Taishan essence stones, more than enough for his cultivation, and more than enough to last. He could create a few talismans that, once activated, could blast a nascent soul cultivator to the ground, potentially saving his life or deterring powerful enemies from beyond his domain. In short, Xuantian had a lot to do. Only about a quarter had passed since his rebirth, and he'd been incredibly busy, never retreating. Now finally able to pause, Xuantian took this opportunity to calm down and put everything in place. 6 months later, spiritual energy is resurrecting, a gleam of light flashed in Xuantian's eyes, and he confidently declared, "That's enough time. When I emerge, no one will be able to stop me, thus. Retreat, continue." Xuantian had truly found peace. In his world, everything was still, including himself. However, the ancient warriors and cultivators outside hadn't stopped, frantically vying for resources. Wang Zhongyuan, the leader of the Xianji sect, reached a martial honor realm the very next day after receiving the true breaking pill from Zeman Fengyan. His unique location in Wudang Mountain enabled him to cultivate at a rapid pace. Of the remaining true breaking pills, Wang Zhongyuan kept 3 and gave the rest to prestigious sects and families in the ancient martial arts world. He also emphasized that they were gifts from alliance leader Xuantian, earning Xuantian's favor. Of course, Wang Zhongyuan was no fool, so he naturally wouldn't run into trouble. He ignored all the sects that had participated in the destruction of Kunlun Mountain. The Fengshan area, thanks to the 2 martial masters, Shi Haohan and Shi Jiushan, remained the top power of the ancient clans. Taishan's relationship with the leader of the ancient martial alliance, Xuantian, in particular, further solidified Taishan's position in the ancient martial arts world. It's worth noting that Shi Haohan had previously been baptized by Golden Light, entering the realm of martial master. Over the past 10 days, leveraging his accumulated experience, he has advanced even further. As for Shi Jiushan, his talent has become incredibly formidable, even surpassing his grandfather, Shi Haohan. However, Shi Jiushan achieved this overnight, lacking the accumulation of years, and therefore remains at the early stage of martial master. He's not in a rush to advance, preferring to keep a low profile and take steady steps. Only in this way can his future be endless. Meanwhile, between the mountains and seas, thanks to the surge in power of the Laotian Elder, his position as one of the 3 top powers in the ancient martial arts world remains unshakable. A few days ago, the Laotian Elder visited the Xianji sect, intending to challenge Wang Zhongyuan. However, at that time, Wang Zhongyuan had not yet reached a martial honor realm, so he refrained from attacking and fled. The Laotian Elder knew he was no match for Wang Zhongyuan. To seize Wudang's title as the world's foremost sect, he needed to defeat the old sect leader, Wang Yangming. But Wang Yangming never appeared, forcing the Laotian Elder to retreat to the mountains and cease to wait. Furthermore, the ancient martial arts revolution had just begun, and he had many things to attend to. In short, the ancient martial arts world was finally no longer stagnant, but brimming with vitality. Meanwhile, the 10 ancient clans were also busy, each braving the onslaught of the ancient martial arts revolution. The onset of the ancient martial arts revolution had a profound impact on the ancient clans. Previously, the ancient martial arts system had reached its limit, with no path beyond the land martial god. The strongest ancient warriors were only comparable to the foundation establishment stage. In fact, land martial gods were few and far between, making advancement extremely difficult, as if constrained by the heavens and the earth. For the ancient clans, cultivating cultivators at the foundation establishment stage was not difficult, with each clan boasting dozens, if not more, of these masters. But now, beyond the land martial god, lies the martial honor realm. The martial honor level rivals the Jinden realm. Ancient warriors can freely reach the martial honor stage, while cultivators, plagued by ominous influences, are unable to advance further. This contrast reveals a stark contrast. The ancient martial arts world will inevitably grow stronger, while the 10 ancient clans will inevitably decline. If it weren't for the 10 ancient clans' earlier development of the false core realm, they would have been vastly outclassed by the ancient martial arts system. However, achieving the false core realm is not only risky but also requires immense resources. Fake core masters are rare among the ancient clans, 10 per clan is considered a formidable achievement. To counter the growing power of the ancient martial arts world, the leaders of the 10 ancient clans convened a meeting. At this moment, nestled among the towering mountains, stands a complex of exquisite, ancient buildings, evident in their rich history. This is the Dongfang clan's headquarters, the culmination of millennia of their legacy. The Dongfang clan is impregnable, with hidden formations and guardian beasts. Throughout history, only 2 individuals have ever forcibly entered, aside from those invited. One of them was Su Wuji, the formidable figure of an era. Over 100 years ago, he descended upon the Dongfang clan and seized numerous resources. However, Su Wuji did not utterly annihilate them. The resources he took were only equivalent to 30% of the Dongfang clans. The second was Jian Chen, one of the 4 powerful outsiders who had descended upon Earth. Jian Chen had reached the nascent soul stage in his former life. Upon arriving on Earth, he was suppressed by Earth's inherent laws and reduced to the nascent soul stage. These laws were unmatched by any outsider. Even the flame dragon Immortal Emperor, upon his arrival on Earth, had his power reduced to that of a quasi-emperor. A mere nascent soul couldn't circumvent this. Jian Chen, reduced to the nascent soul stage, along with Liu Junting and 2 other outsiders, wreaked havoc on Earth. Ultimately, they were defeated by the all-powerful figure, Tongshan, who reduced their realms to the core formation stage. Chapter 657 Ancient Clan Meeting. Jian Chen, as his name suggests, is best known for his sword. The Dongfang family, likewise, boasts a collection of renowned swords. The Azure Sky Sword in Su Yang's hands is one of these, given by Dongfang Yao, the Dongfang family patriarch, to his illegitimate son, Zhang Changshen, only to be stolen by Su Yang. Besides the Azure Sky Sword, the Dongfang family possesses several other exceptional swords, prompting Jian Chen to intrude upon the Dongfang family. Jian Chen's prowess was too great for the Dongfang family, who surrendered. From then on, Jian Chen became the true ruler of the Dongfang family. The Dongfang family, in turn, became a lackey of outsiders, serving as a vassal for masters from beyond the realm. A few days ago, Dongfang Yao, the Dongfang family patriarch, received Jian Chen's orders to convene the other 9 ancient clans to discuss matters concerning the ancient martial arts world. The meeting took place at the Dongfang family. Thus, the Dongfang family gathered the patriarchs of the other 9 ancient clans, along with a dozen cultivators at the Fake Dan realm. Everyone, I'm sure you've all heard about the changes in ancient martial arts. The situation for our 10 ancient clans is becoming increasingly dire. Dongfang Yao, seated at the main seat, spoke gravely. We, the 10 ancient clans, have dominated the world for thousands of years. Originally, the emerging ancient martial arts system seemed vulnerable to us, so we ignored it. For thousands of years, we enslaved the major sects of the ancient martial arts world in batches. Dongfang Yao continued, but now, the ancient martial arts system has shifted. There's even a martial honor realm, and many have even reached that level, yet, no one from our 10 ancient clans has advanced to the true core formation realm. If this continues, I'm afraid we, the 10 ancient clans, will be the ones enslaved. Dongfang Yao glanced around at the crowd and said worriedly, everyone, do you have a plan, Master Dongfang? You're being overly concerned. As he finished speaking, a middle-aged man sitting nearby spoke up, it's just a martial honor realm. Our ancient clan also has the fake core realm. We can handle some of this. There's no need to panic. The man, dressed in azure and holding a folding fan, exuded an exceptionally refined demeanor. He was none other than Shangguan Wuyan, the patriarch of the Shangguan family, one of the 10 ancient clans. Patriarch Shangguan, you're wrong. Dongfang Yao shook his head, then said seriously, the fake Dan realm is indeed comparable to martial honored, but above the martial honored in the ancient martial arts system is the martial saint, and we in the cultivation system can't even reach the nascent soul stage. At this rate, it won't be long before the ancient martial arts world overtakes us. The martial saint realm, Shangguan Wuyan chuckled softly. The realms opened up by the ancient martial arts system are unprecedented. Imagine how difficult it is for a martial saint to emerge in this world. It's likely that no martial saint will appear for decades or even centuries, and according to the information I've received, our cultivation system will see a turning point in 6 months, and the ominous signs will disappear at that time. Shangguan Wuyan smiled. With the thousands of years of accumulation of our 10 ancient clans, it shouldn't be difficult for a nascent soul to appear in a short period of time, right? I don't know about your situation, But my ancestor has already reached the 9-turn fake Dan realm. If the heavens and earth were no longer restraining him, he would reach the peak of the true Jinden realm within 3 days, and even have the chance to reach the nascent soul stage. In 10 days at the least, and 10 at the most, he would definitely reach the nascent soul stage, Shangwen Wuan continued. So, I think Patriarch Dongfang's concerns are completely unnecessary. Let those ancient martial artists toss around. The future world will ultimately belong to its cultivators. Yes, Patriarch Shangwen has a point. My ancestor is confident that he can achieve the nascent soul Dao fruition in a short period of time. I've also heard some news. The Earth's spiritual energy will recover in half a year, cleansing the ominous signs. There's really no need for us to worry. The ancient martial arts have changed, and it's time for the spiritual energy to recover. Watch the ancient martial arts world flourish. There's no need to worry. Their arrogance won't last long. Several of the surrounding ancient clan heads nodded in agreement with Shangwen Wuyan. However, the expressions of Nanguang Yin, Zai Hao Yin, and the others darkened. The Nanguang and Zai Hao families, like the Dongfang family, had already surrendered to the outer realm. This time, they came with a mission, to unite the 10 ancient clans and jointly confront the ancient martial realm. Hearing these clan leaders' words, their expressions naturally turned grim. Spiritual energy will revive in half a year. At this moment, Nanguang Yin said calmly, "Where did you hear that? Ever since the 3 immortal emperors from the outer realm interfered with Earth over 2,000 years ago, Earth's spiritual energy has been depleted," Nanguang Yin said sternly. "So many years have passed, and Earth's spiritual energy has been declining. How can it possibly revive in half a year? It's completely absurd." Indeed, Zai Hao Yin nodded. "We can't put all our hopes on the unknown. We must suppress the ancient martial realm before it fully rises. Only then can we preserve the 10 ancient clans' position on Earth." I agree, too. That's indeed the right thing to do. Stifling it before it's too late is the wisest option. 2 of the 10 ancient clans, particularly those with a warlike nature, spoke up, endorsing Nanguang Yin and Zai Hao Yin's proposal. "Nanguang Yin, Zai Hao Yin, how can you be sure that the revival of spiritual energy in half a year is nonsense?" At this moment, Zai Loi, who had been sitting silently in the corner, said, "A dozen years ago, some of you also thought that the reform of ancient martial arts was impossible, but in the end, Mr. Su still started the reform of ancient martial arts. In my opinion, the revival of spiritual energy is real." Zai Loi stroked his beard and smiled lightly. "Maybe, it will be started by Mr. Su himself. At that time, it will really be the golden age of the Earth." "Zai Loi, shut up." Nanguang Yin stared at Zai Loi when he heard this, and said in a cold voice, "If you hadn't brought people from the Zai family to stop it that day, how could the descendants of the Su family start the reform of ancient martial arts? The current situation in the ancient martial arts world is all due to your Zai family. Humph, it's your Zai family that made our ancient clans so passive. Do you know your crime?" Nanguang Yin questioned. "Guilt." Zai Loi stood up and demanded, "The ancient martial arts world also belongs to Earth's native system. Our common enemy is the outside world. The ancient martial arts reform has succeeded, ancient martial arts have risen, and Earth's overall strength has increased. What crime has my Zai family committed? If my Zai family truly played a key role in the ancient martial arts reform, as you claim, then it would truly be an honor for my Zai family," Zai Loi said coldly. "You can continue this ancient clan meeting. My Zai family will no longer be with you." With that, Zai Loi was about to leave. "Those with different philosophies cannot work together." Shangwen Wuyan's face darkened upon hearing this. He stood up and said, "If you want to fight, then go ahead. My Shangwen family will no longer be with you." Immediately afterwards, Shangwen Wuyan also declared his united front with Zai Loi. 2 more families then stood beside Zai Loi and Shangwen Wuyan. Though they didn't speak, their meaning was clear. The 4 of them were about to leave the conference hall, taking their respective fake elixir masters with them. But at this moment, a young man with a broken sword on his back stood at the door, blocking their way. The young man took out a broken sword and held it horizontally in front of him. He looked around at Zai Loi and others and said indifferently, "You all, stay." Chapter 658, Kill with One Sword. The man carrying the broken sword is Jian Chen, one of the masters from the outer realm. He has now reached the peak of the Jinden realm, his power unfathomable. The broken sword in his hand embodies the might of an imperial weapon. This is why Xuantian is immune to ominous influences and can roam Earth at the peak of the Xuantian realm. However, this broken sword is not a true imperial weapon, it merely incorporates a fragment of one. Even so, its power should not be underestimated. Lord Xuantian, Dongfang Yao, Nanguang Yin, and Zihao Yin, upon seeing Xuantian, all stood and saluted, their eyes filled with respect, not daring to overstep their bounds. Xuantian arrived on Earth over 100 years ago. After Su Wuji wielded him, he took over the Dongfang family and demonstrated astonishing strength. Even the Dongfang family's 9-turn fake pill masters were no match for Xuantian. It's said that a 6-turn fake pill can rival a peak Xuantian realm, but those who understand the truth know this is nonsense. The power of a Xuantian is far beyond the reach of even a fake one, and Xuantian is no ordinary peak Xuantian cultivator. He was once a cultivator at the spiritual transformation realm, and his combat skills and experience far surpass those of a typical peak Xuantian cultivator. While the other clan heads present might not be aware of Xuantian's strength, Dongfang Yao was fully aware and naturally held him in awe. Nanguang Yin and Zihao Yin, each with their own family of outsider masters, were naturally well aware of each other's tactics. Lord Xuantian, Zaloy's gaze fell on Xuantian, and he frowned slightly. Who are you? He had a bad feeling. Even Dongfang Yao and the other two were treating him with utmost respect, suggesting this man must be someone special. Shangwen Wuyan, standing nearby, and the clan heads who stood in solidarity with him, followed suit, gazing warily at Xuantian, ready for battle. My name is Xuantian, and I come from outside the domain. Xuantian raised a playful smile at the corner of his mouth, and said in a cold voice, today, the only way for you to survive is to agree to unite to deal with the ancient martial arts world, otherwise, you will die, outside the domain. Zaloy's face changed drastically when he heard this, and he murmured, it is rumored that more than 100 years ago, 4 masters from outside the domain came to the earth. Are you one of them? Yes, Xuantian said lightly. That's impossible. Shangwen Wuyan shook his head and said in disbelief, weren't all 4 masters from outside the domain defeated and wiped out by Senior Su Wuji back then? Su Wuji, Xuantian sneered, he doesn't have the guts to kill me, even the great figure behind him wouldn't dare to kill the 4 of us so easily. Xuantian said without hesitation, although he is an immortal emperor, we have 3 immortal emperors behind us. At the time, I just threatened Su Wuji and the great figure by mentioning the 3 immortal emperors behind me. They were intimidated and didn't dare to kill the 4 of us. It's just that the immortal emperor weakened our realms and reduced us to the Xuantian realm. Xuantian held the broken sword in his hand and continued, Su Wuji is truly astonishingly talented. He actually defeated the 4 of us at the peak of the Xuantian realm with his own strength and has the potential to become an emperor. I'm afraid that even when the immortal emperor was young, he couldn't punish the 4 of us at the Xuantian realm. But Su Wuji did it. It's truly terrifying, but so what? He still didn't dare to kill us. He was afraid of the 3 immortal emperors behind us, so he let us go. Xuantian smiled lightly and said, Su Wuji is just too stubborn and doesn't know the times. If he had pursued me, my master, the White Jade Immortal Emperor, he would have become the darling of heaven and earth. In the near future, he would have at least achieved the status of a quasi-emperor. What a pity, he chose to stand against us and even paid with his life because of a bet. It's a pity? Xuantian shook his head, feeling really sorry for Su Wuji, and then said, the earth has lost Su Wuji. That all-powerful figure lost the bet and left the earth. Since then, no one on earth can pose a threat to the 4 of us. If the 3 immortal emperors hadn't ordered us to wait another 100 years, the earth would have been ruled by the 4 of us long ago. Xuantian changed the subject and said in a cold voice, however, Kunlun Mountain suddenly changed. One of the 4 of us occupied Kunlun and was killed not long ago. Since you people on earth want to provoke disputes, it's not our fault. Xuantian chuckled playfully. It's said that another cultivation system on earth has undergone a so-called revolution. Haha, and who on earth could possibly have emerged from Kunlun to have been able to wipe out Lu Junting? Until these things are clarified, the 3 of us can't take action. We'll have to let the people of the ancient clan explore the way, Xuantian said bluntly. He didn't mince words, directly telling Ziloi and the others his purpose. He was provoking a conflict between the ancient clan and the ancient martial world simply to test the waters, to see how far the ancient martial world had progressed, and to force out the powerful individual who had wiped out Lu Junting to find out the truth. I see, Zaloi understood. then turned his gaze to look at Dongfang Yao, and said with a gloomy face, Dongfang Yao, why is Jianchen here? You already knew his purpose? I need an explanation, Brother Loi. What explanation do you need? Can't you see that the Dongfang family has become a running dog of the outside world? Shangwen Wuai next to him responded, then stared at Dongfang Yao and said coldly, isn't that right, Dongfang family head? So what? Dongfang Yao didn't care at all, and said in a deep voice, things have come to this point, I don't intend to hide it anymore. As early as 100 years ago, the Dongfang family surrendered to the outside world, but there is one word I'm afraid you used wrong. My Dongfang family is not a running dog, we just know the times. Dongfang Yao smiled proudly, when Lord Jianchen and the other lords conquer the world, my Dongfang family will surely be able to reach a higher level and bring glory to our family. Bring glory to our family. Zai Loi heard this and sneered unceremoniously, haha, Dongfang Yao, you said it the other way around. If the ancestors of the Dongfang family knew that your Dongfang family had defected to the outside world, they would probably be so angry that they would open the coffin lid and crawl out themselves. Shut up. Dongfang Yao was furious and said with a sharp look in his eyes, Senior Jianchen, this Zai Loi will definitely not submit to you. Please kill him to set an example, huh? Jianchen frowned slightly and said dissatisfiedly, since when do I need you to point fingers at me when I do things? I dare not. I know I was wrong. Dongfang Yao hurriedly lowered his head and said in panic. Stop talking, Jianchen scolded Dongfang Yao, then looked at Zai Loi and said coldly, you are from the ancient Zai family. I have heard of the name of your ancestor Zai Yao. It is said that she is peerless and the most beautiful woman in history. Although I have not been able to meet her, I have admired her for a long time. Today, I will give her a favor and give your Zai family another chance. Jianchen held the broken sword in his hand and said with a stern face, submit to me, or maybe, die? Chapter 659 Yin Yang Pisces. Haha, you're dreaming, Zai Loi declared righteously, I don't care what others choose, but I, Zai Loi, will never be your lackey. Kill me if you want, cut me up if you want, and I won't even frown, alright, then I'll grant your wish. Jianchen's eyes glared, and without the slightest hesitation, he brought down the broken sword. Clang. In an instant, a terrifying sword intent surged out, slashing directly at Zai Loi. The power of Peak Jinden was unmistakable. Zai Loi had no power to resist, and in an instant, his head fell to the ground, gushing out crimson blood. Nearby, two Zai family masters of fake elixir saw this, their faces suddenly changed. Then, they dropped to their knees, bowing to Jianchen in deep fear. We are willing to submit. Please, Lord Jianchen, show mercy. Zai Loi alone cannot represent the entire Zai family. Senior Jianchen, please calm down. When we return home, I will persuade our ancestor, Zio, to submit to you. The two men were frightened by Jianchen's tactics, their bones softening, and naturally they dared not stand up. My Shangwen family is also willing to serve Lord Jianchen. Seeing this, Shangwen Wuan weighed the pros and cons and ultimately chose to compromise. He had already seen that Jianchen's strength was probably unmatched in the world. Not even a 9-revolution fake pill could stand against him. He didn't care about life or death, but he had to protect the thousands of lives of the Shangwen family, so he chose to submit. The other family heads looked at each other in bewilderment, and as expected, they all knelt in submission. Very good, Jianchen nodded with satisfaction at this scene, then formed a seal with one hand, and a dozen soul contracts floated in midair. Then, Jianchen said, I'm sure you're familiar with this. Sign a contract with me and become my slaves, and you won't have to die today. Everyone present hesitated, looking at Shangwen Wuyan, eager to see what he would do. Shangwen Wuyan's expression was grim, but out of consideration for the Shangwen family, he shed his blood and signed the soul contract. Seeing this, the others followed suit, becoming Jianchen's slaves. Haha, if I had known this, why would I have forced you to do it? Jianchen smiled, then said, from now on, you will obey Dongfang Yao's orders. He will make arrangements for the war against the ancient martial arts world. Yes, Shangwen Wuyan and the others responded respectfully. Having signed the master-servant contract, their lives rested in Jianchen's hands. With a single thought, Jianchen could render them invisible, and for this reason, they showed him immense respect. Well, I still need to practice. Dongfang Yao, I'll leave the rest to you, Jianchen instructed Dongfang Yao, then turned to Nanguang Yin and Xiahao Yin and asked, "Have my two old friends heard about Lu Junting's death?" "Yes," Nanguang Yin and Xiahao Yin nodded. "Did they say anything?" Nanguang Yin and Xiahao Yin both shook their heads. "It seems they, like me, are striving for the nascent soul stage." Jian Chen smiled softly and said, "If that's the case, how could I fall behind?" With that, Jian Chen flashed out of the conference hall. "Come, take Xiloi out. After all, he's the head of the family. Give him a proper burial." After Jian Chen left, Dongfang Yao straightened up and spoke. "Yes." Then, two servants of the Dongfang family entered and took away Xiloi's body. Then, Dongfang Yao looked at Shangwen Wuan and chuckled softly. "Master Shangwen, the outcome of today's meeting was already determined. Why did you protest earlier?" HMPH, Shangwen Wuan remained unimpressed, speaking coldly. "Dongfang Yao, you know the contact information from my Shangwen family. Just let me know how and when to start the war. I need to return to report to my ancestor." "Haha, that's fine. However, Master Shangwen, if your ancestor is extremely opposed to submitting to the outer realm, please inform me." Dongfang Yao smiled playfully. "I will ask Lord Jianjin to eliminate him and make you the true master of the Shangwen family." HMPH, that's not necessary. I wouldn't do such a thing as betraying my teacher and ancestors, Shangwen Wuan said calmly. Besides, my Shangwen family's ancestor was devoted to cultivation and never asked about these matters. With that, Shangwen Wuan led his men away. The heads of the other families also bid farewell to Dongfang Yao. After all, joining the outer realm was a serious matter. Before they left, Dongfang Yao said, "What I said to Shangwen Wuan applies to you as well." After seeing Shangwen Wuan and the others off, only Dongfang Yao, Nanguang Yin, and Xiahao Yin remained in the conference hall. "I didn't expect Lord Jianjin's strength to be so terrifying. Is this the power of a peak Jiandan?" Xiahao Yin muttered to himself. "Haha, of course. Lord Jianjin is the most powerful of all the masters from outside the domain." Dongfang Yao, acting with the power of a powerful figure, seemed a little overconfident. He then turned his gaze to Nanguang Yin and chuckled softly. "Senior Nanguang Yin, long time no see. It's been a while indeed. The last time we met was 50 years ago, wasn't it?" Nanguang Yin smiled and said, "Back then, you weren't yet truly in charge of the Dongfang family, and were controlled by your wife in every way. I never thought you'd be the true head of the family now. This is all thanks to Lord Jianjin's appreciation. Otherwise, I'd still be that woman's puppet," Dongfang Yao said with a smile. 50 years ago? Xiahao Yin frowned slightly, a hint of doubt in his eyes. "Didn't we meet more than 10 days ago in Wuding Mountain? By the way, Senior Nanguang, I was just about to ask, what exactly happened in Wuding Mountain at that time? We escaped early. How did you leave?" "I don't know." Upon hearing this, Nanguang Yin shook his head and said, "You asked the wrong person. I am Nanguang Yin, but not the Nanguang Yin you are talking about." "What do you mean?" Xiahao Yin was even more confused. "Why don't I understand?" Haha. Seeing this, Dongfang Yao smiled and said, "The head of the Xiahao family is not an outsider. It's okay for him to tell you. There are two senior Nanguangs in this world, and this is all thanks to the Nanguang family's treasure, the yin-yang pisces." Dongfang Yao continued, "Whoever controls this object can split into another self. Senior Nanguang Yin, once the most outstanding genius of the Nanguang family, naturally obtained the right to use the yin-yang pisces, and had already split into a second self. The Nanguang Yin we saw some time ago in Wuding Mountain was simply a split from you, Senior. Therefore, he only possesses 30% of your power." Dongfang Yao looked at Nanguang Yin and smiled softly. "Senior, am I right?" Chapter 660 The Strange Nanguang Yin. Yes, Nanguang Yin nodded and did not deny what Dongfang Yao said. Obviously, the other party guessed it right. The yin-yang pisces, there's actually such a magical thing, Xiahao Yin suddenly realized, then said in amazement, "Isn't this equivalent to a high-level cultivator's clone? It's said that only those at the spiritual transformation realm can have clones." Haha, there's a clear difference between the yin-yang pisces and a clone. Nanguang Yin chuckled softly. Cultivators at the spiritual transformation realm, when they use the clone technique, the split identity they create is still their own consciousness. Unless you reach a higher level or practice some special secret technique, you can create different souls, Nanguang Yin explained, but the yin-yang pisces is different. The false pill realm is ultimately not yet a true core formation realm. At the false pill realm, I can use the yin-yang pisces to split off a body with its own consciousness. That body will possess some of my memories and 30% of my strength, practicing on my behalf. Nanguang Yin continued, and I myself am also practicing in seclusion, which means my cultivation speed can be doubled. When the time is right, I will recall my other self, merge the two into one, and integrate the memories and strength of that body. Nanguang Yin smiled and said, by then, my strength will naturally increase dramatically. I see. Zai Hao Yin nodded and said, no wonder Senior Nanguang's cultivation speed is so fast. However, Senior Nanguang, since the other you has an independent consciousness, why would he agree to merge with you? Of course it's the yin-yang pisces. Nanguang Yin smiled and said, the yin-yang pisces are in my hands, and the yin-yang pisces can control that body. As long as I activate the yin-yang pisces, he will have to return to the Nanguang family for me to merge with, otherwise he will be in unbearable pain. If you don't have the ability to punish that body, who would be willing to split into another self? Is that so? Zai Hao Yin nodded as if understanding, and then asked curiously, Senior Nanguang, does your body still exist now? Did you escape from Wudang Mountain? What happened to Wudang Mountain? It has been reduced to ashes. Nanguang Yin sighed and said, on the day the ancient martial arts reform began, I was in seclusion in the Nanguang family practicing, and suddenly I realized that my body had been wiped out. Although I can control him with the yin-yang pisces, I cannot share his memories with him before we merge. Nanguang Yin smiled bitterly and said, therefore, I don't know what happened in Wudang Mountain, but what is certain is that there must be masters in the false pill realm in Wudang Mountain. I have worked hard for many years to merge with that body and thus reach a higher level. At this point, Nanguang Yin's eyes turned cold and he said in a deep voice, but who knew that it would be destroyed, and all my years of planning would be in vain? I must avenge this. Senior Nanguang, 30% of your strength is the second level false pill. Your true realm is at least the 5th level, right? Dongfang Yao smiled and said, nowadays in the ancient martial arts world, the ancient martial arts transformation has just begun. Not many ancient martial artists have set foot in the martial honor realm, and there should be even fewer who have advanced to the middle stage of the martial honor realm. They are not to be feared. It will be easy for you to take revenge. Unexpectedly, Nanguang Yin sighed and said regretfully, what a pity. After all, that body was split from me. It was reduced to ashes, and my strength was also damaged. Now I am only a second-level fake pill. It is not a problem for dealing with an early-stage martial honor, but if I encounter a mid-stage martial honor, I will be a bit stretched. Second-level Jiandan, your strength has dropped so much? Dongfang Yao said in surprise. Yes, Nanguang Yin nodded, and then said, I was planning to retreat for a while to recover my strength. If Lord Changfang hadn't sent me here, I would definitely not come out. Lord Changfang was one of the 4 masters from outside the domain, occupying the Nanguang family. Is that so, Senior Nanguang? Don't worry, the most important thing is to heal your injuries first. You can arrange for other people to declare war on the ancient martial world. Dongfang Yao smiled lightly and said, I think your great-granddaughter, Nanguang Yaowei, is very good. She can represent the Nanguang family and conquer the ancient martial world. I will also send the Dongfang family's outstanding genius, Dongfang Mingri. Dongfang Yao smiled and said, although Mingri is not my biological grandson, his grandfather is no longer with us, and his grandfather and I are brothers. Naturally, I have to value him and not bury his talent. After the ancient martial world is completely eliminated, I will consider passing the position of the head of the Dongfang family to him. Dongfang Yao continued, Senior Nanguang, Mingri and your great-granddaughter Nanguang Yaowei are childhood sweethearts. When Mingri becomes the head of the Dongfang family, how about our 2 families get married? Upon hearing this, Nanguang Yin glanced at Dongfang Yao, deliberately avoiding the subsequent question and instead said, they are both still young and have only established their foundation. They have not yet entered the false elixir stage. Isn't it too rash to let them participate in the conquest of the ancient martial realm? We will naturally send false elixir to secretly protect them. It shouldn't be a big problem. Dongfang Yao raised the corner of his mouth and said, Senior Nanguang, you should know what Lord Xuantian and the others mean. He wants to eradicate the ancient martial realm, but he doesn't know the depth of the ancient martial realm. That's why he asked us to step forward and test the waters for him. The ancient martial realm has existed for so many years. There's no guarantee there will be any old monsters. It is said that the old man from Laotian, between the mountains and the sea, has stepped into the middle stage of martial honor in one step. I don't know if it's true. In short, the waters of the ancient martial realm are still quite deep. Are we really stupid enough to rush in and die? Dongfang Yao whispered. I personally think it would be best to let the young people of the clan step forward and cooperate with other ancient martial arts masters to muddy the waters of the ancient martial realm. We'll just hide in the background. If the ancient martial realm proves vulnerable, that's all that matters. But if they're too formidable, we can directly ask Lord Jianshan to intervene, Dongfang Yao said. Lord Jianshan simply wants to understand the ancient martial realm. It doesn't matter who steps in. You have a point, Nanguang Yin nodded, then said. I'm very dissatisfied with Mingri and Yaowei's performance at Wudang Mountain over 10 days ago. They actually fled without a fight, bringing shame to the ancient martial realm. It's time they experienced a real bloodbath. Dongfang Yao's lips curled up in a playful smile upon hearing this. He glanced at Nanguang Yin meaningfully, as if he saw through something, but remained silent. Master Dongfang, it's settled then. I'll go back and make all the arrangements. Afterwards, it's time for me to retreat and cultivate, Nanguang Yin said. Farewell, senior, Dongfang Yao and Xiahao Yin said simultaneously, watching Nanguang Yin leave the conference hall. Strange. Senior Nanguang is usually so arrogant, stern, and quiet. Why did he explain so much today, and even seem a little more amiable? Xiahao Yin said puzzledly after seeing Nanguang Yin off. Haha, Dongfang Yao smiled and whispered, they're not the same person anymore, so their attitude is naturally different. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 661 Wu Kengying, a word determines the world. What do you mean? Xiahao Yin frowned and asked in confusion. This Nanguang Yin is not Nanguang Yin, Dongfang Yao said calmly. The real Nanguang Yin must have died in Wudang Mountain. What? Xiahao Yin was shocked and said, that's impossible. With his clone here, how could he go to Wudang Mountain on his own and take the risk? A risk? Dongfang Yao's mouth curled up. No one knew it was a risk at the time, because since ancient times, our Gu clan has been able to control the ancient martial arts world. I guess Nanguang Yin felt that he had the Gu clan under control, so he went there in person. Dongfang Yao continued, but who would have thought that an accident happened in Wudang Mountain? His original body was killed and completely dissipated. Impossible. Xiahao Yin shook his head and said, the real Nanguang Yin was at least a 5th level fake pill. Who in Wudang Mountain could kill him? According to what I heard, Xiao of the Xi family also went to Wudang Mountain, but even if Xiao took action, Nanguang Yin had the ability to escape. It's impossible for him to be killed. Perhaps Nanguang Yin's strength was limited for some reason, but I am sure that I am not wrong, Dongfang Yao said confidently. First, the conquest of the ancient martial realm is fraught with danger. I propose that Dongfang Ming rejoin because of my relationship with Dongfang Mingshi. That kid is incredibly talented and quick-witted. Even Lord Jianshan seems quite interested in him and seems interested in taking him on as a disciple. If you were my grandson, I'd naturally be delighted. But since he's not from the same bloodline as me, I certainly wouldn't tolerate him, Dongfang Yao whispered. I proposed that he join the war so I could take the opportunity to get rid of him, but Nanguang Yaowei is Nanguang Yin's favorite great-granddaughter. Nanguang Yin doted on her since she was a child, practically giving her everything she asked for. Dongfang Yao continued, as an old man who has lived for hundreds of years, it's impossible for him not to know the dangers of conquering the ancient martial realm, yet he agreed, and more. Before, he brought up what happened on Wudang Mountain, saying that it was shameful for Dongfang Mingri and Nanguang Yaowei to flee without a fight. Dongfang Yao raised the corner of his mouth and said, but according to what he said, it was a split body that went to Wudang Mountain, and the memories of the two sides are not mutually connected. Then how did he, a person who was in seclusion, know what happened in Wudang Mountain? Combining all these things, there is only one possibility, that is, he is not the real Nanguang Yin, Dongfang Yao concluded. That makes some sense, but that's not right. Xiahao Yin was even more puzzled, saying, Master Dongfang, the 2 points you raised are contradictory. If he isn't the real Nanguang Yin, and the real Nanguang Yin died on Wudang Mountain, then it makes sense that he agreed to send his beloved Nanguang Yaowei to fight against the ancient martial world. After all, their memories aren't interconnected, Xiahao Yin continued, but if that's the case, How did he know that Dongfang Mengri and Nangang Yao fled Wudang Mountain without a fight? I can't explain that for sure. Dongfang Yao shook his head, then said with a firm gaze, however, I can be sure that he is not Nanguang Yin. As you said, Senior Nanguang Yin is usually very serious and aloof. He wouldn't share so many secrets about the yin-yang pisces with us like he did today. Dongfang Yao sneered, but he did. Something must be wrong when things are out of the ordinary. I guess his explanation of the yin-yang pisces was intended to convey to us incorrect information about them. For example, perhaps the split bodies of the yin-yang pisces sometimes have interconnected memories. Dongfang Yao continued. For example, he was trying to explain why he only had the strength of a second-level fake pill. In short, his cleverness backfired. He acted so erratically today, betraying him. That makes sense. Zai Hao Yin also felt that Dongfang Yao's suspicions were correct. He then asked, Master Dongfang, what should we do then? Should we report this to Lord Jianjun? No need. Dongfang Yao smiled. Whether he's the real Nangang Yin or not is none of our business. Why bother? Let him be. Yeah, Zai Hao Yin thought about it and decided it made sense. He stopped talking and said, Master Dongfang, I'll take my leave now. I'll return to the Zai Hao family and await your orders. With that, Zai Hao Yin quickly left the scene. Nanguang Yin, the yin-yang pisces. Haha, this is quite interesting. With this thought in mind, Dongfang Yao summoned the Dongfang family's veteran, a fake pale realm expert, and left the Dongfang family, traveling through the mountains and hills. The next day, news spread throughout the land. The story goes that Nanguang Yin of the Nanguang family was killed in the wilderness, suspected to be a provocation from an ancient warrior, instantly sparking the hatred of the ancient warriors. Remarkably, Nanguang Yin's possessions were intact. However, the Nanguang family's most precious treasure, the yin-yang pisces, which he had carried with him, disappeared. 2 weeks after the meeting of the 10 ancient clans, under Dongfang Yao's command, minor frictions between cultivators and ancient warriors began to flare up, but nothing major happened. 2 months later, however, a full-scale war erupted, escalating rapidly. The ancient martial arts revolution had been relatively new, and the world had long been weak, making it no match for the 10 ancient clans. Many sects suffered crushing defeats, leaving them in dire straits. However, despite the fierce fighting of the 10 ancient clans, there were a few places they dared not set foot on. First was Mount Tai, the site of the Fengshan ceremony. As a top ancient warrior force, Dongfang Yao naturally wanted to take it down. But that day, a massive golden figure suddenly appeared beneath Mount Tai. Even a rank 6 fake pill dared not approach. The second location was Mount Laotian, nestled between the mountains and the sea. When the masters of the 10 ancient clans appeared at Mount Laotian, the seemingly thin old man showed no mercy, slamming down with a single palm strike, wiping out dozens of cultivators at the peak of the foundation establishment stage, and even several at the fake pill stage. As for the third location, Mount Jilfen, Wu Qingying's strength was undeniable. Standing at the foot of the mountain leaning on her cane, she simply struck the ground with it, unleashing a terrifying aura that repelled all incoming enemies. She also left a message, ethereal and resounding across Mount Jilfen: for the next 6 months, you 10 ancient clans had better behave yourself. If you go too far, don't blame me for invading the ancient clans and overthrowing their very foundations. I say what I say, and I will do it. Even the outsiders behind you cannot stop me. These words exuded an unrivaled dominance, a gaze that looked down upon all. From that moment on, the ancient clan never dared to set foot on Jilfang Mountain again. Even because of Wu Qingying's words, their pace of conquering the ancient martial arts world slowed down considerably. And just like that, in the blink of an eye, half a year had passed. Chapter 662. Half a year later. Over the past 6 months, friction has raged between the ancient martial arts community and the 10 ancient clans. While the ancient clans boast numerous masters of fake elixir and 3 masters from outside the realm, Jianchen, Changfeng, and the final master from outside the realm have remained silent. Whether out of fear or for other reasons, it's unclear. The ancient martial arts community has also seen the rise of numerous masters, including the Laotian elder, Shi Haohan, Abbot Yuantong, and Wu Qingying. The most formidable is Wu Qingying, who, standing alone at the foot of Jilfang Mountain, dared to challenge the 10 ancient clans. She even disregarded the masters from outside the realm, threatening to annihilate them if they refused to restrain themselves. Despite this, the two sides have only engaged in minor conflicts, resulting in no significant casualties. However, those ancient martial arts who participated in the destruction of the Su family, led by those from Qingchang Mountain, have now taken a swipe at the ancient martial arts community. They knew that Su Yang, a descendant of the Su family, had become the leader of the Ancient Martial Arts Alliance. He had used the feedback from the changes in ancient martial arts to rapidly elevate 10 individuals to the rank of martial master, and had befriended numerous powerful ancient martial arts masters. With a single word from Su Yang, without even any action on his part, their sects would crumble. Consequently, those sects submitted to the 10 ancient clans, becoming their lackeys. The 10 ancient clans didn't abandon their ambitions to conquer the ancient martial world due to the presence of ancient martial arts masters like Wu Kengying, the old man of Laotian, and Shi Haohan. They simply slowed their pace. Led by Dongfang Yao, they steadily tested the limits of Wu Kengying and the others, gradually encroaching on the ancient martial world. Shi Haohan of Mount Tai, the old man of Laotian between the mountains and the sea, and Abbot Yuantong of Mount Bodhi were already struggling to maintain their respective sects, so they naturally refrained from interfering. Wu Kengying, presumably unwilling to face a fateful clash with the 10 ancient clans and the masters from outside the region, chose to remain silent. In short, the past 6 months have been marked by constant conflict, causing widespread anxiety and unrest. Notably, Dongfang Mengri and Nangang Yaowei disobeyed their elders' orders to join the conquest of the ancient martial arts world. Citing illness, they have remained in seclusion, never leaving the house. These minor incidents, however, offered a small measure of peace for the ancient clans. But this state of affairs was disrupted 2 weeks ago. A sudden shift in the sky, from clear skies to thick clouds, followed by a rip in the sky. 10 figures emerged from the rift, descending upon Earth. That day, Jian Chen, Chang Feng, and another expert from beyond the realms emerged to greet them. From that moment on, the balance of power was shattered, and the ancient martial arts world plunged into unprecedented darkness. These 10 individuals were all powerful from beyond the realms, and upon arriving on Earth, they displayed the power of the nascent soul stage, shocking all. Undoubtedly, these 10 individuals were the work of the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor, the Tuoba Immortal Emperor, and the White Jade Immortal Emperor. Originally at the spiritualization realm, they were suppressed upon arriving on Earth, reduced to nascent soul strength. Even so, they were formidable, not to be underestimated, let alone 10 of them. After arriving on Earth, these 10 nascent soul masters from outside the realms forcibly took control of the 10 ancient clans, using them as a platform to expand their influence throughout the world. They seized any good they could find, took possession of any beautiful woman they could find, and slew any who resisted. For a time, the world was in turmoil, and the people were in a state of panic. 2 days ago, a nascent soul master journeyed between the mountains and the sea, aiming to seize Laotian and compel its Taoist priests to serve the outsiders. The Laotian elder still objected and engaged in a battle. Over the past 6 months, the Laotian elder had made significant progress, reaching the pinnacle of martial honor, equivalent to the peak of the core formation stage. However, the invaders were at the nascent soul stage, and the Laotian elder's resistance was futile, resulting in his severe injuries. Consequently, Laotian was lost. On the same day, Mount Tai, the side of Fengshan, imperial sacrifices, and Mount Bodhi, the Buddhist Pure Land, both fell. Even these two transcendent forces were powerless against the nascent soul realm outsider masters. Ancient martial artists everywhere trembled in fear, fearing slaughter by these outsider masters. Currently, Jiufang Mountain was the only Pure Land in the world, and the 10 nascent soul realm outsider masters had not set foot there. Consequently, ancient martial artists from around the world flocked to Jiufang Mountain, hoping for its protection. The 10 outsider masters, however, did not stop them, but instead announced that they would personally visit Jiufang Mountain in 2 days to meet the legendary foremost ancient martial artist, Wu Kengying. Furthermore, they stated that their grievances with the ancient martial arts community would be resolved there, urging Wu Kengying to consider their actions and not be ungrateful. As for the previously defeated Laotian elder, Shi Haohan, Abbot Yuantong, and others, the 10 nascent soul realm outsider masters did not kill them, but instead imprisoned them. Because before coming here, the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor had instructed that Earth's ancient martial arts system be preserved, he was quite interested in it and planned to study it. The Fengshan land, the area between the mountains and the sea, and Mount Bodhi. These forces were the leaders of the ancient martial arts world, with deep roots. Naturally, the 10 masters from outside the domain wouldn't rashly wipe them out. 2 days later, the 10 masters from outside the domain made an appointment to put pressure on Wu Qingying. Wu Qingying was the backbone of the entire ancient martial arts world. Capturing Wu Qingying would be like breaking the ancient martial arts world's backbone, and they would then be able to control this force. Of course, they also wouldn't forget the purpose of their visit to Earth, to clear the ancient martial arts world, allowing them to focus on dealing with Su Yang, the descendant of the Su family. I never thought the mighty Xuantian Immortal Emperor would actually be reborn on Earth. Haha, that's ridiculous. At this moment, a short, white-haired elder from the Dongfang family let out a disdainful smile and turned to Xuantian beside him. It's been a while since I arrived on Earth. The injuries I sustained when I stormed into Earth have almost healed, and I can now venture out for a bit. Xuantian, where is Su Yang now? The Xuantian Immortal Emperor was Su Yang. This information was revealed to him by the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor. His primary purpose for coming to Earth was to find Su Yang and nip him in the bud, preventing the Xuantian Immortal Emperor from rising to prominence. Reporting to Master Yaoming, I've investigated thoroughly. Su Yang is currently in Kunlun Mountain, Xuantian replied, his eyes gleaming with a subtle resentment. He and the short, white-haired elder were both subordinates of the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor, both at the Divine Transformation Realm. Initially, Xuantian had completely disregarded Master Yaoming and dismissed his opponent. His swordsmanship had already reached a high level of perfection, and naturally, a master of the same realm, Yaoming, was no match for him. But now, the Netherworld Master had arrived on Earth, retaining the strength of a peak nascent soul stage. Although he himself had also been at the peak of the nascent soul stage, he had been weakened to the core formation stage by that great figure, and was forced to be inferior to the Netherworld Master. Chapter 663 Su Yang comes out of retreat. Kunlun Mountain, right, Zhenren Yaoming smiled lightly, then his eyes became stern and he said, I heard that the ancient starry sky road and the natural formation that protects the earth are all there. In that case, I'll go there. Xuantian, lead the way, you come with me, I want to see how mysterious Kunlun Mountain is, Zhenren Yaoming said. Yes, he nodded in agreement and then reminded, by the way, Master Yaoming, Master Fengxi announced today that in 2 days, he will go to Jilfang Mountain to make a final break with the ancient martial arts world. Do you want to go there too, Jilfang Mountain? Master Yaoming frowned and said, is it the force where Wu Qingying, the #1 ancient martial artist you mentioned, is located? Exactly, Xuantian responded. Originally, half a year ago, the 3 of us were going to take over the ancient martial arts world, but it was this Wu Qingying who forced us to give up. I once secretly went to Jilfang Mountain. Although I didn't fight with her, I could sense from a distance that she was very powerful. She must not be at the martial honor realm, Xuantian continued, so, to be on the safe side, Changfeng, Wang Xing and I decided to wait for a while before punishing the Gu clan. The 3 of us will try to break through to the nascent soul realm. If we can recover to the nascent soul realm, we can naturally defeat that Wu Qingying easily. I just didn't expect. As Xuantian was speaking, True Man Yaoming smiled playfully and said, I just have no idea. The 10 of us will come. Xuantian, are you unwilling to accept this? After all, you and I were at the same level before, and even my real strength was not as good as yours. But now, I can crush you with just one finger, and you have to obey my orders. I dare not. Xuantian hurriedly clasped his fists and lowered his head, responding in a low voice. Even if you're unwilling, you must endure for me. You should understand the principle of strength being respected. True Netherworld sneered twice, but didn't continue the conversation. Instead, he said, I won't get involved in the 9 Peaks Mountain affair, and I doubt anyone else will either. Fengxi is eager for quick success, so let him deal with it on his own. This time we come to Earth, we won't return empty-handed. It's said that Earth was once incredibly glorious, even hosting beings surpassing immortal emperors. That's why the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor is so curious about Earth. He's blocked from Earth by the protective formation. He can't possibly know every detail of what's going on here. This is a good opportunity. Perhaps I can find a chance to advance to the Tribulation Realm, or even become an immortal emperor, the old man thought to himself, then took Xuantian and left, heading straight for Kunlun Mountain. The 10 people who came to Earth this time were all subordinates of the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor. After arriving on Earth, They realized that they had lost some connection with the flame dragon Immortal Emperor, and thus became interested in Earth's resources. The 10 of them also agreed that Earth's resources would belong to whoever saw them, and they would not fight over them. Secondly, and most importantly, they must not tell the flame dragon Immortal Emperor what happened on Earth, otherwise they would all die. So, the 10 of them separated, maintaining contact with each other and plundering Earth's resources. However, during his visit to Earth, Master Yaoming was seriously injured and came to the Dongfang family to recuperate, so he did not participate in the plundering. He could not seize the items looted by other masters from outside the domain, so he gave Kunlun Mountain to him. Of the 10, only he could go to Kunlun Mountain to plunder cultivation resources. Master Yaoming had always longed for Kunlun Mountain and was naturally very satisfied. At this moment, in a valley, Guo Yi had ended his cultivation, wearing a light ink-colored long gown, a feather fan, and a silk scarf. He stood outside the valley, cupped his fists toward the valley, and said respectfully, "Senior, thank you for your selfless teachings over the past 6 months. When I meet the master and obtain his consent, I will definitely accept you as my disciple." Haha, alright, go. An old, ethereal voice echoed from within the valley, warning, 10 powerful auras have emerged on Earth today. They must all be nascent soul masters. Be careful, the Qingfang fan I left you, be sure to use it with care. It contains 1/10 the power of my imperial weapon. At your current level, activating the Qingfang fan will inevitably backfire. Unless there's an emergency, just treat it as an ordinary feather fan, Guguzi said patiently. Yes, Guo Yi responded respectfully, then, holding the Qingfang fan, he turned and left the valley. Guo Yi, haha, this disciple is quite good. He's got his own shrewd mind. His official skills are as good as Sukin and Zhang Yi's, and his military tactics are as good as Sun Tzu and Bai Qi's. Watching Guo Yi leave, Guguzi stroked his beard and smiled with satisfaction. Not bad, not bad. I didn't expect to receive a disciple like this at the last minute. I hope he can play a role in the spiritual energy revival. Meanwhile, at Jifang Mountain, Wu Qingying had already learned of the appointment in 2 days. She stood on the mountaintop, leaning on her cane, her face calm. Old woman, that young Master Fengxi will set foot on Jifang Mountain in 2 days, Kaianiansha said anxiously. He is already in the nascent soul stage, and it is said that he is at the peak of the nascent soul stage. Not only him, but perhaps other masters from outside the domain will also come. What should we do? Why are you panicking? Wu Qingying said in a flat tone. When the enemy comes, we will fight him. When the water comes, we will block it with earth. As long as I am here, Jifang Mountain will be here. But, old woman, that is a cultivator in the nascent soul stage. More than 100 years ago, Su Wuji had not reached this level. Kaianiansha was worried. Su Wuji wasn't even able to defeat me back then. We were both injured. Wu Qingying smiled confidently, then soothed him. Don't worry. No one can break into Jifang Mountain. But Zuir has been in seclusion for 6 months. Su family descendant, when will you finally emerge? So much has happened in the past 6 months. If you don't, your friends and family won't be able to hold on. Sigh. Wu Qingying looked up into the distance and sighed deeply. Now, Kunlun Mountain, within the protective pillar of light. For the past 6 months, Su Yang has been cultivating, his body motionless, covered in dust. Swish. Suddenly, Su Yang's eyes opened, a frightening glint gleaming in them. Finally, a breakthrough, haha. A playful smile played across Su Yang's lips, and he chuckled softly. 6 months flew by. But at least it wasn't wasted. I've refined and absorbed all the energy stones and old medicines in my 2 storage rings, and my strength has also undergone a dramatic transformation. I can roam the earth without a problem, Su Yang muttered to himself. He originally had a storage ring that contained the laws of space, and then Zeman Fengyan gifted him another. All the resources in the 2 storage rings, any spiritual energy contained within, were completely absorbed by Su Yang, leading to a tremendous leap in his realm. The profound meaning of the 100 worlds of reincarnation also underwent a qualitative change. The Void Tower was repaired and now had 5 floors. In short, after 6 months of seclusion, Su Yang had accomplished everything he needed to do. It was time to emerge. 6 months have passed. I wonder what's happening out there. How are my family? With intense curiosity, the Void Tower above Su Yang strode away from the Pillar of Light. But when he saw the scenery of Kunlun Mountain outside, his face suddenly darkened. and his eyes were filled with raging anger. Chapter 664 Inquiry. Blood. Corpses. Kunlun Mountain outside the beam of light was already covered in blood, with blood flowing like a river on the ground. 20 or 30 corpses were scattered around, their deaths extremely tragic. Not far away, there were 7 or 8 people who had built a fire on the spot, as if they were having a picnic. Beer, barbecue, and a comfortable time, completely ignoring the blood and corpses on the ground. Seeing this scene, Su Yang was instantly furious, and the murderous intent in his eyes soared to the sky. What exactly happened in Kunlun Mountain? Where did Su Chengyu go? Have my relatives and friends been taken to Kunlun? Have they met with an accident? Thinking of this, Su Yang's eyes turned red, and he strode towards the 7 or 8 people who were having a picnic not far away. These people didn't pay any attention to Su Yang at all, and naturally didn't realize that danger was about to come. This Kunlun Mountain is really magical. There is such a powerful pillar of light. We are all at the peak of the foundation building stage, but we can't get close to it, I heard the head of the family talking to others. This pillar of light seems to be some kind of protective formation that connects the entire earth. We are just small shrimps, according to the confessions of those people in Kunlun Mountain. The descendants of the Su family are in seclusion inside the light pillar. I don't know how strong they are now. He just set foot in the foundation building stage half a year ago. It's only been half a year. What changes can there be? At most, he is in the middle stage of the foundation building stage, and he can enter the late stage. He is considered a top genius. Who of the 7 of us can't easily grasp him? He is so weak, but he can actually enter the light pillar. We are all at the peak of the foundation building stage, but we can't get close. It's strange, maybe he has some treasure that can withstand the oppression of the light pillar. It would be great if he came out of it now. It would be a great achievement for us brothers to catch him. 7 cultivators at the peak of the foundation building stage were very happy while eating barbecue skewers and talking. At that moment, Su Yang approached and coldly demanded, "Who are you? Who sent you?" Swish, swish, swish. Instantly, the 7 people at the scene reacted, hastily standing up and staring at Su Yang warily. Each face was filled with panic. One of them, a middle-aged man in his 50s, stared at Su Yang and asked in a deep voice, "Who are you?" He assumed that Su Yang, who had appeared so quietly, must be a powerful figure, so he hesitated to act rashly. The other 6 also instantly realized that the young man before them was not a simple threat, and they treated him as a formidable enemy. "Haha, just now you kept saying you wanted to capture me and make a contribution. How come you don't recognize me?" Su Yang sneered. With his current strength, wiping out the 7 people at the scene would be a simple matter of raising his hand. However, Su Yang had just emerged from seclusion and didn't know what was happening outside, so he decided to inquire before taking action. "Su Yang, you are Su Yang, the descendant of the Su family." The middle-aged man was shocked and said fearfully, "The aura you carry, have you already condensed the golden core?" Su Yang did not answer this question. Instead, he said coldly, "Tell me who the head of the family you are talking about is, otherwise I will kill him without mercy." "Impossible, this is impossible." The middle-aged man shook his head in disbelief. "There is an ominous omen between heaven and earth. How could you condense the golden core? You, puff." Before he could finish his words, Su Yang made a move. His fingers were like knives, and with a light stroke, a terrifying force erupted, instantly severing the middle-aged man's head. The head fell to the ground, and a headless corpse appeared. Bright red blood spurted out, and then it collapsed to the ground with a loud thud. This scene instantly frightened the remaining 6 people, and they were all terrified. Their faces changed drastically. "I hate to hear nonsense." Su Yang made an example of someone, then looked at the person closest to him and said coldly, "Can you answer my question?" The cultivator at the peak of the foundation establishment stage was so frightened that his tongue trembled, and he was speechless for a moment. Puff. What awaited him was the same decapitation, his body torn apart on the spot. The head fell to the ground, eyes wide open in death. After emerging from seclusion, Su Yang became the Immortal Emperor, the true Xuantian Immortal Emperor. Even facing these people, he showed no mercy. "Of the 5 of you, do any of you still want to be like those 2? Su Yang's gaze was like a knife, sweeping lightly over the remaining 5 peak foundation establishment cultivators. Puff. The next moment, all 5 of them knelt on the ground, their bodies trembling with fear. "Su, young Master Su, We come from one of the 10 ancient clans, the Dongfang clan. Dongfang Yao is our patriarch. Yes, the patriarch ordered us to stand guard here. We're to closely monitor the light column and capture you immediately if you step out of it, young Master Su. This is the patriarch's order. Please, have mercy and spare our lives. 3 of the 5 men began to answer Su Yang's question, while the remaining 2 hesitated and remained silent. Puff. Su Yang, of course, showed no mercy. He raised his hand and killed them, coldly saying, if you're not proactive in answering questions and don't have a strong desire to survive, what use are you to? The 3 remaining Peak Foundation establishment cultivators watched this scene, each secretly sweating, grateful for their lives, yet at the same time fearing Su Yang like a tiger. This man's methods were too brutal. Any hesitation would mean death. They had to answer the questions proactively. It was clear that Su Yang's decisive and ruthless actions had completely intimidated the 3 men. What exactly happened in Kunlun Mountain? Where did Su Chengyi go? Where did the people on the mountain go? Su Yang asked gravely. For 6 months, Su Yang had been deeply immersed in cultivation, blocking out the outside world, like shutting off his social circle. Whatever was happening outside, even if the sky collapsed and the earth tore apart, he would not notice. Therefore, Su Yang did not know the situation in Kunlun Mountain, but he was deeply puzzled. Before his retreat, Su Yang had set up the Lu Ocean Furnace formation, with astonishing defensive power. Even cultivators at the nascent soul stage could not break it. And Su Chengyi controlled the Lu Ocean Furnace formation. Logically, Kunlun Mountain should be safe and sound. What had happened? However, Su Yang was relieved that when he released his spirit, he did not find Su Chengyi's body. Not only Su Chengyi, but also the bodies of his relatives and friends were not found in Kunlun Mountain. If someone had truly breached Kunlun, those who had attacked would naturally not be kind enough to collect the bodies of Su Chengyi and the others. Therefore, there was only one possibility: Su Chengyi and the others were not dead, but simply taken away. Reporting to Master Su, about 3 days ago, Kunlun Mountain was breached. Some of the people on the mountain died, and the others were taken away by people sent by our family head. Yes, they are all in the Dongfang family. The family head has imprisoned them. The Su Chengyi you mentioned should be the man who controlled the mysterious formation. He is not dead either. The family head took him away personally. If you want to save him, you can go to the Dongfang family. The 3 people rushed to answer, fearing that if they answered slowly, they would be directly wiped out by Su Yang. Puff. But as they finished speaking, Su Yang still took action, decisively killing 2 people, leaving only 1 alive. Then, Su Yang's face was as dark as water. He stared at the last person and said sternly, what you said is partly true and partly false. Tell me, who is the person who broke into Kunlun Mountain? Chapter 665 Soul Search. Now, Su Yang's divine sense was astonishing. He could tell at a glance that the 3 men before him weren't telling the truth, but what they said wasn't entirely false either. Su. Young Master Su, we wouldn't dare lie to you. Every word we say is true. Su Chengyi and the others are indeed not dead. They've been imprisoned. I swear to heaven, yes, if you don't believe me, you can go to the Dongfang family and find out. The 3 surviving Peak Foundation establishment cultivators were clearly feeling a little guilty, but they nonetheless spoke up, trying to dispel Su Yang's doubts. HMPH, Su Yang snorted coldly, his eyes gleaming with a fierce look. He sternly declared, since you won't tell the truth, don't blame me for being rude. With that, Su Yang decisively struck, instantly terminating the 3. Then, Su Yang gazed at the corpse on the ground, spread his palm, and said in a deep voice, search the soul, buzz? The next moment, a ball of spiritual energy surged from Su Yang's palm and entered the mind of one of the Peak Foundation establishment cultivators. Search the soul. This is a relatively common secret technique, usable on cultivators at lower levels. However, to use it, one must at least reach the core formation stage. Therefore, Su Yang had not previously attempted to master this technique, only revisiting it during this retreat. At his current level, using the soul search technique would actually incur considerable damage, so he hadn't used it directly just now. However, these people refused to tell the truth, so Su Yang had no choice but to use the soul search technique. As the soul search technique unfolded, Su Yang saw the memories of the Peak Foundation establishment cultivator. Originally, these people were all from the Nangguang family. A few days ago, a middle-aged man in his 30s, dressed in black, led dozens of Nangguang family experts to Kunlun Mountain. The middle-aged man in black, a master who had traveled across the void from the outer realm, possessed the strength of a peak nascent soul cultivator. His name was Master Fengxi. Kunlun Mountain was protected by the Luotian Hongluo formation, and even a peak nascent soul cultivator would not have been able to penetrate its defenses. However, Master Fengxi was cunning and treacherous, and he told Su Chengyi that he knew Su Wuji's whereabouts. Su Chengyi cared about his master. Furthermore, he had made considerable progress over the past 6 months, having already reached the peak of the Jinden stage. He felt confident that even if he left, he would be able to return to the Luotian furnace formation immediately. So, he left Kunlun Mountain alone to meet with Master Fengxi. Master Fengxi was at the peak of the Yuanying stage, and the outcome was predictable. With a single move, he captured Su Chengyi alive. He had originally intended to kill Su Chengyi, but then remembered that Su Chengyi had several other disciples. Therefore, Master Fengxi spared Su Chengyi's life and, with a cold smile, told her he was using him as bait. Furious and humiliated, Su Chengyi attempted suicide to thwart Master Fengxi's plot. Unfortunately, Master Fengxi instantly subdued him, making his death impossible. Without Su Chengyi, the Luotian furnace formation was of little use. Master Fengxi, accompanied by the Nangguang family's experts, easily entered Kunlun Mountain. The Kunlun Mountain residents rose in resistance, but to no avail, with some killed and others injured. This included Su Yang's father and grandfather. Su Shenbing and Su Qianqian, both of whom possessed mediocre talent, were only at the 8th level of key training, even after being taken to Kunlun Mountain and aided by a wealth of energy stones and ancient medicinal herbs. Had the Nangguang families had not intervened and informed Master Fengxi that they were Su Wuji's closest relatives, they would likely have perished at his hands. Upon learning of Su Shenbing and Su Qianqian's identities, Master Fengxi expressed a keen interest and had them restrained and brought back to the Nangguang family, along with many of the descendants of the servants who originally inhabited Kunlun Mountain. I always hear the name Su Wuji from my master. Even my master, the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor, praises him highly. I really want to meet him. Over 100 years ago, the 3 immortal emperors concluded that Su Wuji had died from a thunder tribulation. But after years of serving my master, I've heard a different story. Back then, Su Wuji wasn't dead, he simply didn't advance to the nascent soul stage. The 3 immortal emperors determined he was killed by the thunder tribulation to win a bet with his Xuantian immortal emperor. Young Master Fengxi chuckled softly. So many years have passed, I wonder if Su Wuji still exists. Haha, now that I've captured his descendants, and with the impending chaos, I think I can force him to come out and see. Therefore, young Master Fengxi didn't massacre everyone on Kunlun Mountain. After taking control of Kunlun, he first glanced at the ancient starry road, then approached the pillar of light where Su Yang was cultivating. Young Master Fengxi knew this was a natural formation protecting the earth, so he approached cautiously and slowly explored it. Before he could even get 3 meters within the light column, he was repelled by the terrifying force it emanated. Such a powerful force. No wonder my master has never set foot within it at his peak. This formation is simply beyond the reach of a cultivator of Immortal Emperor caliber. Young Master Fengxi muttered to himself, my master suspects that Earth once produced a being surpassing the Immortal Emperor. It seems almost certain. Meanwhile, the head of the Nangguang family approached and informed young Master Fengxi that he had interrogated several Kunlun servants and learned that Su Yang, a descendant of the Su family, was cultivating within the light column. This astonished young Master Fengxi. He couldn't even enter the protective light column, so how had Su Yang gotten in? Young Master Fengxi was intrigued, and from a distance, he had indeed sensed the presence of someone within the light column. Master Nangguang, all 10 ancient clans on Earth have now surrendered to the outside world. Among the ancient clans, only Jilfang Mountain lingers. I'm going to Jilfang Mountain next. You'll come with me, but remember to assign someone to monitor this area. When that descendant of the Su family emerges from seclusion, notify me immediately, young Master Fengxi instructed. Didn't you just say that Su Yang was only in the early stages of foundation establishment when he entered the light column? Just send a few peak stage foundation establishment warriors to guard here. It's only half a year, he can't cause any trouble. With these words, young Master Fengxi departed. Although interested in Su Yang, he didn't take him seriously. After receiving the order, Master Nangong left behind 7 peak stage foundation establishment warriors and then led his men away. Through the memories of this peak stage foundation establishment warrior, Su Yang clearly saw his grandfather, father, and Su Chengyi being escorted away in a state of disgrace. Master Fengxi, a new expert from outside the domain, haha, today, I will kill you. Su Yang's eyes were filled with endless rage, like the falling stars in the sky. Just as he was about to follow the route he got from soul searching to rescue the Nangong family, he suddenly noticed that a powerful person had arrived in Kunlun. His eyes suddenly became stern and he said in a deep voice, "Who is it? Get out here." P.S. After 6 months of seclusion, now the Immortal Emperor has returned. His trump card is invincible and exciting. Chapter 666. It's worth the trip. Despite their immense strength, the newcomer couldn't escape Su Yang's divine sense. As soon as they approached Kunlun, Su Yang sensed them. HMPH, damn you, Master Fengxi, you hypocritical bastard. As Su Yang finished speaking, a short, elderly man, accompanied by a man carrying a broken sword, appeared not far from him. These two were, of course, the recently descended Master Yaoming, and Jian Chen, one of the 4 masters from beyond the realm who had visited Earth 100 years prior. After landing, Master Yaoming glanced around, anger evident in his eyes, not at Su Yang. Fengxi, these days, aside from occupying the Dongfang clan, I haven't interfered in plundering Earth. You clearly promised to give me Kunlun, so why did you come here first? Netherworld Immortal was furious. Do you really think I'm easy to bully? I will settle this account with you. Through the secret soul-searching technique, Su Yang had learned that 10 powerful outsider cultivators had recently descended on Earth, each occupying one of the 10 ancient clans. The one who ruled the Nangong clan was young Master Fengxi. The old man who appeared before him mentioned young Master Fengxi's name without the slightest fear. Presumably he was one of the 10. Given this, Su Yang was no longer polite. His face was as sullen as water as he asked, "Old dog, who is your master? Who opened the dimensional rift that sent you to Earth?" Netherworld Immortal finally turned his gaze to Su Yang, frowning. "Who are you? A descendant of the Su family, Su Yang," Su Yang replied coldly. Su Yang, when Yaoming's Henrin learned Su Yang's identity, he immediately smiled, "Haha, it's really a case of searching for something in vain, but it comes to you without any effort. There are some things that the master only told me, and did not tell Master Fengxi and others." Yaoming's Henrin smiled and said, "Su Yang, do you know the main purpose of our visit to the Earth this time? If you have something to say it quickly. If you don't, you will have no chance," Su Yang said indifferently. Facing Yaoming's Henrin, he was not afraid at all. "Haha, what a big tone." Netherworld Immortal looked at Su Yang and said with a playful smile, "Before coming to Earth, the master told the others to clean up the Earth and control it, but this is just an illusion. The master's real purpose is to kill you." Netherworld Immortal laughed coldly. Who would have thought that the dignified Xuantian Immortal Emperor would now become a cultivator in the Foundation establishment realm? Ha! More than 100 years ago, if it weren't for you stopping him, the Master and the other 2 Immortal Emperors would have flattened the Earth long ago. Naturally, he hates you to the core, Netherworld Immortal said with a little pride. "I am the Master's most trusted person. He is worried that the other 9 people will know your identity and have other ideas, such as capturing you and forcing you to hand over your secret skills and the Imperial Weapon Void Tower. It will inevitably cause trouble, therefore, the Master only told this news to me, Xuantian Immortal Emperor. I didn't expect to meet you today in Kunlun Mountain. Haha, it seems that the laws of nature are fair. This trip to Kunlun Mountain was well worth it, Xuantian Immortal Emperor. He had come to Earth over 100 years ago. Su Yang had long suspected this event and had it confirmed. So he wasn't surprised at this moment. However, he must have lost some of his memories of that time. Now, Su Yang even began to speculate that he wasn't reborn through a soul-transporting body, but had simply reappeared on Earth as an infant. He was Su Yang, the real Su Yang, and Xuantian Immortal Emperor was the true title of his previous life. This speculation stemmed from a bet made over 100 years ago. Su Yang was certain that he was the all-powerful figure that Wang Yangming, Sumo, and Zimin Fengyan had spoken of. Over 100 years ago, Xuantian Immortal Emperor and 3 other worldly Immortal Emperors had staked their bet on Su Wuji. As a result, Su Wuji failed to advance to the nascent soul stage, and his life or death was uncertain, leaving the Xuantian Immortal Emperor in a crushing defeat. To fulfill his promise, he must not interfere with the three Immortal Emperors' attacks on Earth. Consequently, the Xuantian Immortal Emperor wandered for years. Finally, over 20 years ago, using the secret technique of reincarnation, he was reborn within Shi Yuan's body as Su Yang, a fully human earthling, freed from any ties to the Xuantian Immortal Emperor. This allowed him to continue interfering in Earth's affairs. Xuantian Immortal Emperor happened to possess the secret technique of reincarnation, but crucially, while it retains all cultivation methods, it also results in the loss of a certain amount of memory. Furthermore, the technique awakens one day in the second life, when one is in their 20s, inheriting the power of scattered souls and converging into a powerful soul. This perfectly aligns with Su Yang's situation. It is precisely because of this powerful soul power and the loss of memory that Su Yang believes he has flattened the 9 netherworlds, reborn as a remnant of his soul. Master Yaoming, half a year ago I got the news that Su Yang, a descendant of the Su family, was already in the early stage of foundation building. Later he came to Kunlun Mountain for seclusion. At this time, Jian Chen, carrying the broken sword on his back, spoke up and said disdainfully, I didn't expect that half a year has passed and he is still in the foundation building stage. Haha, it seems that the reincarnation of the Immortal Emperor is just like this, is that true? Master Yaoming paused for a moment after hearing this, then smiled and said, Immortal Emperor Xuantian, you lost the bet again. You can choose a good body when you are reborn through borrowing a body, but you reincarnated and cultivated again, and have been in a daze for more than 20 years. What's the point? Do you really think you can protect the Earth? Su Yang pulled himself out of his memories, met Master Yaoming's gaze, and said coldly, is your master the Immortal Emperor Yanlong? You can't make any waves anyway, so it doesn't matter if you tell me. My master is the Immortal Emperor Yanlong, Master Yaoming continued. In addition to my master, the Immortal Emperor Baiyu and the Immortal Emperor Tuoba also participated in the master's plan. Immortal Emperor Baiyu, Yu Baiyu. Su Yang wasn't familiar with the Immortal Emperor Tuoba, but he was incredibly familiar with the title of White Jade Immortal Emperor. Back then, among the many Immortal Emperors who had banished Su Yang to the 9 netherworld hell, one was this White Jade Immortal Emperor. Haha, Su Yang, with your current strength, are you worthy of the title of Immortal Emperor? Netherworld Immortal took a step forward and confidently declared, I'll now offer you 2 choices. 1. Give up resistance and follow me obediently. Then, hand over your cultivation techniques, secrets, and all your treasures to me. As for the second path, I'll annihilate you, leaving no trace of your body and soul. Netherworld Immortal chuckled playfully, you were once an Immortal Emperor, at least. You're still useful to me. If you can serve me as your master, I'll spare your life. So, I suggest you choose the first path. Xuantian Immortal Emperor, you are a wise man and understand the importance of choice. I hope you can make the right choice, lest you lose your life in vain. At the end of his words, a cold glint flashed in Netherworld Immortal's eyes, completely enveloping Su Yang. Chapter 667 Su Yang's Current Realm. Facing the threat from the Netherworld Master, Su Yang showed no fear. Instead, he smiled. Haha, you keep saying that the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor trusts you, yet you're asking me directly for my secret cultivation techniques and the Void Tower. Su Yang chuckled softly. Aren't you afraid that the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor will find out and punish you? This question was crucial. Su Yang couldn't currently contend with a powerhouse at the level of an Immortal Emperor. If he alarmed the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor, he would be unable to resist. Therefore, before taking action, Su Yang first sounded out the Netherworld Master's attitude. So what? Netherworld chuckled playfully, the Immortal Flame Dragon Emperor's reach isn't that long, otherwise he wouldn't have sent us to Earth. To be honest, he originally planned to enlist the help of the other 2 Immortal Emperors to forcibly set foot on Earth. Netherworld continued, unfortunately, Earth's protective formation is too powerful, and his wish was thwarted. Now, he's outside the domain. Even if he's constantly monitoring Earth, he can't know the specifics of what's happening inside. Only a particularly large disturbance would alert him, Netherworld said recklessly. Even if he's agitated, it won't be a big deal. Currently, the Immortal Flame Dragon Emperor can't enter Earth. Earth's protective formation has been strengthened, unlike it was over 2,000 years ago. Even if the Immortal Flame Dragon Emperor seals his power, it would be difficult for him to set foot on Earth again at the Quasi-Emperor level, Netherworld said bluntly. From what I understand, at this point, he'd have to lower his status and reach the Tribulation Crossing level to barely gain entry. but there are powerful beings on Earth. If the flame dragon Immortal Emperor enters at the tribulation crossing level, he'll be doomed." Netherworld Immortal didn't take Xuantian seriously at all, chuckling playfully. "So, even if he knew, what would he do? Are you saying that there are masters on Earth who have surpassed the tribulation crossing level?" Xuantian asked curiously, grasping the key point. "That's right. After the tribulation crossing level, one reaches the threshold of the Emperor level, known as the Quasi-Emperor, and beyond that, the true Immortal Emperor. Could such a powerful cultivator exist on Earth? If Earth didn't have a Quasi-Emperors, the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor would have stormed into Earth at the Quasi-Emperor level 1,000 years ago." True Man Yaoming laughed. "When the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor entered Earth with his space-time gate, he didn't wipe out Earth's powerful warriors. A few slipped through the net, and they're quite powerful. Originally, the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor stayed on Earth, intending to force those Quasi-Emperors out, but who knew he'd encounter the Blood Demon, who had returned from beyond the realm? The Blood Demon was a native Earth cultivator. The Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor slaughtered his entire clan. Carrying hatred with him, the Blood Demon embarked on the ancient Starry Sky Road, returning unexpectedly as a Quasi-Emperor." True Man Yaoming narrated. "The two naturally engaged in a devastating battle. In that battle, the Blood Demon narrowly escaped as a remnant soul, but the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor was also seriously injured and forced to leave Earth. When he recovered from his injuries and prepared to set foot on Earth again, he found the Earth inaccessible. For years, the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor has been searching for a way to break through Earth's protective formation. He thought he could succeed, but ultimately failed." The Netherworld Master continued. "About half a year ago, the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor sensed the Blood Demon's presence. He learned that the Blood Demon's soul and body had merged, and he had been reborn. He panicked, and sent us down to kill the Blood Demon before it was too late. Besides that, he wanted to nip you, the Xuantian Immortal Emperor, in the bud. As for the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor himself, he must not be able to enter Earth, otherwise you and the Blood Demon would have long since become corpses." "I see." Hearing the Netherworld Master's words, Xuantian nodded as if he understood. At the same time, he realized that the Blood Demon the Netherworld Master was referring to was probably Sumo Xuantian. "There's nothing more to say. Make your choice. Hand over what I want, or do you want to die?" Netherworld Master stopped talking and said coldly. "Or perhaps, you want me to capture you and search your memories?" "I don't want any of that." Xuantian came back to his senses, smiled, and said, "I still have one option. Kill you." "Kill me, with you?" Netherworld Master laughed wildly. "Haha, what a joke. I see you're only at the Foundation establishment stage." "You?" As Netherworld Master spoke, Xuantian had already made his move, his 10 fingers constantly shifting and forming hand seals. Buzz! 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 The next moment, the clouds and winds of Kunlun Mountain suddenly shifted, and terrifying forces rose from the ground, completely trapping Netherworld Master. These energies were crimson red, emitting a terrifying aura. Most bizarrely, the temperature around them instantly soared to an extreme, like a furnace. The Ocean Furnace Formation. Xuantian activated the Lu Ocean Furnace Formation. Although young Master Fengxi had tricked Su Qingyi out of Kunlun Mountain and gained entry, he was unable to destroy the Lu Ocean Furnace Formation. At this moment, Xuantian formed a magic seal, directly activating this life or death formation. "What?" Shocked, True Man Yaoming muttered, "such a powerful formation. I almost forgot." The Immortal Emperor Xuantian, throughout his life, possessed unparalleled mastery of formations. "Xuantian, is this why you're so confident? But I doubt your formation, at the peak of the Foundation establishment stage, can harm me. Break it." With these words, True Man Yaoming attacked, unleashing his most powerful weapon. Boom! A terrifying force blasted all around, but it failed to destroy the Lu Ocean Furnace Formation, it merely trembled slightly. This, flustered, True Man Yaoming attacked again and again, but was unable to break the formation. He himself was burned by the scorching heat, screaming in pain. "Stop struggling. A peak nascent soul cultivator can't break through the Lu Ocean Furnace Formation. Prepare to die," Xuantian said calmly. His gaze fell on Jian Chen, not far away, and he chuckled playfully. "You also have fragments of the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor's imperial weapon on you. You must be from out of this world, too, early nascent soul, haha. I'm only at the peak of Foundation establishment. If we really came to blows, you could kill me with a single slap. But unfortunately, this is Kunlun Mountain, and I've already set up a life or death formation there. Enter it, too. Su Yang clasped his hands together, poised to trap Xuantian in the Luotian furnace formation. Not good, Master Yaoming, I'll leave first. Good luck to you. Seeing this, Xuantian didn't hesitate a moment. His figure flashed, and he quickly left Kunlun Mountain. Su Yang didn't pursue him. A playful smile played on his face. Clearly, all this was within his expectations. Su Yang had gained immensely from this retreat, having already reached the nascent soul realm. If he were to resort to force, with a little more skill, he could wipe out the Netherworld Master. However, this time, 10 peak nascent soul cultivators were to descend upon Earth. If the remaining 9 attacked simultaneously, Su Yang would be completely unable to cope. Therefore, Su Yang deliberately activated the Luotian Honglu formation, using it to punish the Netherworld Master, convincing others that he was only at the peak of the Foundation establishment stage. He then deliberately let Xuantian escape, allowing him to inform the others and confirm his low realm. This way, the remaining 9 outsiders would become careless, giving Su Yang the opportunity to defeat them one by one. Playing the pig to eat the tiger has always been a truth in the world of cultivation, and Immortal Brother Xuantian is well versed in this. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 668 Relationship. Su Yang let Xuantian go, intending for him to tell the other 9 nascent souls from outside the realm that he was only at the peak of the Foundation establishment stage. He was able to defeat Master Yaoming entirely thanks to the Luotian furnace formation. Once outside the Luotian furnace formation, he would be a helpless weakling at the mercy of anyone. After sending Xuantian away, Su Yang's gaze fell on Master Yaoming, who was within the formation. At that moment, Master Yaoming had calmed down within the Luotian furnace formation. He sat cross-legged, practicing his cultivation techniques, and a spiritual barrier appeared around him, shielding him from the raging flames. The effect was truly remarkable. Master Yaoming was no longer in as much pain as before, but the burning sensation remained, and sweat poured down his body. Haha, truly a master who has fallen from a high realm to the nascent soul stage. Your strength surpasses most peak nascent souls. Su Yang looked at Master Yaoming and smiled softly. If I were to fight you, I'd probably have to use every possible means. Su Yang wasn't lying. Currently, he had just entered the nascent soul stage, only at the early stages. On the other hand, True Man Yaoming was a powerful being who had fallen from the spiritualization realm to the nascent soul realm, and his realm was at the peak of the nascent soul realm. There were several small realms between Su Yang and him, so if he wanted to win, he would have to waste a lot of tricks. Humph! True Man Yaoming met Su Yang's gaze and snorted coldly, what big talk. You are only at the peak of the Foundation establishment stage. Without this formation, I wouldn't even need to make a move to make you bleed to death. Su Yang did not explain this, and then smiled playfully, what a pity, you have entered my formation and will surely die. Su Yang, you underestimate me. True Man Yaoming laughed coldly. Before coming to Earth, the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor gave me a dragon scale and told me to use it only in times of crisis. I didn't expect that at this moment, I would have to use my final trump card. The dragon scale of the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor comes from him. It is extremely powerful. It is a waste of talent to use it against you, but today, I have to let you see it. True Man Yaoming sneered, but fortunately, Su Yang, you have the Void Tower. A dragon scale in exchange for the Void Tower is a very cost-effective deal. Dragon scale. Su Yang frowned slightly, then said, I know the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor's true form. He's a Crimson Fire Dragon. Although he's covered in countless dragon scales, not many of them are actually useful. What's your relationship with him? Why did he give you the scales? Su Yang asked curiously. I won't tell you that. Netherworld Immortal's expression faltered slightly. Oh, even if you hadn't said it, I'd have guessed it. Su Yang chuckled playfully. I heard the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor has a problem with his sexual orientation. He doesn't like women, but prefers men. Old man, do you and the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor have some kind of secret relationship? Su Yang couldn't help but speculate, stalling for time. In reality, he was secretly transforming the Luotian furnace formation, preparing to activate it at its strongest state. Although Su Yang was only speculating, Netherworld Immortal's expression darkened even further. filled with shame. Haha. It seems that I guessed it right, but the taste of this flame dragon Immortal Emperor is too strong. He doesn't look for a burly man or a creamy young man, but actually looks for an old man. Tisk tisk tisk, I don't know whether it is moral degradation or distortion of human nature. Su Yang continued to delay time, and said something to disturb the thoughts of the netherworld immortal. Old man, may I ask, who is usually on top between you and the flame dragon Immortal Emperor? Does he think your beard pricks people? By the way, you are so old, and your bones are curled up. Has that thing shrunk? When Su Yang asked this, he couldn't help but shudder, and said with disgust on his face, tisk tisk tisk, the picture is too beautiful. I dare not think about it. I am a pervert, but I think you are perverted. Su Yang, the netherworld immortal, was furious, and said in a deep voice, have you said enough? Who told you that the flame dragon Immortal Emperor and I have that kind of relationship, isn't it? Su Yang asked doubtfully. No, netherworld master emphasized twice, then laid it all out. Immortal Emperor Flame Dragon and I are uncle and nephew, and I'm his biological uncle. As a blood relative, he gave me a dragon scale imbued with powerful energy. Isn't that right? Is there anything wrong with that? Is that so? Su Yang glanced at netherworld master and muttered, then why were you embarrassed just now? Why did you look so embarrassed? According to seniority, I'm his uncle, but I can only call him master. Would you be embarrassed if it were you? Netherworld master raised an eyebrow. I see. That explains it, Su Yang replied casually. Preparations were complete. Next, with a single thought, the Luotian furnace array would activate to its fullest potential. At that moment, Netherworld master would be scorched by the scorching heat, reduced to ash. HMPH, Su Yang, I don't want to waste any more words with you. Once I break through this formation, I'll kill you. At this moment, Netherworld's eyes glared, and with a sudden thought, he was about to retrieve the dragon scale. Haha, too late. Meanwhile, Su Yang let out a cold smile. The next moment, the Luotian furnace formation suddenly transformed. Buzz! In an instant, terrifying waves of heat swept through the formation. These waves seemed to be able to incinerate everything, overwhelming everything. At this moment, Netherworld's miserable cry echoed from the Luotian furnace formation. Dragon. Dragon scale. In despair, Netherworld tried to activate the dragon roar, but before he could finish his words, he was completely incinerated. The fire in the Luotian furnace formation was no ordinary fire, it could naturally incinerate a body at the nascent soul stage. In just a few breaths, Netherworld's body was reduced to ash. Only two things remained. One was a palm-sized disc, imbued with the power of an imperial weapon, his ultimate weapon against ominous influences. This was also why he could appear on Earth at the nascent soul stage, unfazed by ominous influences. The other was a fist-sized golden dragon scale. Suspended in midair, radiating a brilliant light, its might undeniable. Haha, these two are quite impressive, Su Yang said with a smile. He then activated a Luotian furnace formation, intending to collect the disc and dragon scale. But just then, a soul force surged into the sky, attempting to flee the scene. This soul force, unsurprisingly, was the nascent soul of Master Yaoming, palm-sized, a miniature version of Master Yaoming. I've been waiting for you for ages. A mere soul, thinking you could escape before my eyes? Humph, wishful thinking. Su Yang had long been aware of Master Yaoming's subtle intentions, but he paid them no mind. At this moment, Su Yang raised his arm, pointed his palm at the netherworld true person Yuaning in midair, raised the corner of his mouth, and murmured, "Capture the soul." Chapter 669, Flying back from the 6th floor of the Void Tower. Is something wrong with Su Chengyi? The soul-binding secret technique perfectly restrains the soul's nascent soul. During this retreat, Su Yang further refined the soul-binding secret technique, its abilities significantly enhanced. Although the power of the netherworld true person's nascent soul was considerable, having once attained the divine transformation realm, it was still no match for Su Yang's wrath. Had he remained in a physical body, Su Yang would have faced a fierce battle to defeat him. But once the soul and body were separated, the outcome was one-sided. At this moment, a powerful pulling force emerged from Su Yang's palm, restraining the netherworld true person's nascent soul, which had been swiftly fleeing. With a scream, the netherworld true person's nascent soul was grasped by Su Yang. No matter how hard he struggled, he could not escape the soul-binding realm's control. Su Yang, don't go too far. I'm the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor's uncle. If you kill me, he will not let you go. The miniature netherworld true person, still clinging to the hope of survival, threatened Su Yang. Haha, do you think I'm stupid? Even if I don't kill you, will the flame dragon Immortal Emperor let me go? Su Yang narrowed his eyes, his expression stern. Besides, have you forgotten my identity? I, the Xuantian Immortal Emperor, have ever been afraid of the flame dragon Immortal Emperor. If you hadn't teamed up with several other Immortal Emperors to launch a surprise attack on me back then, how could I have been forced into the 9 nether hell? Su Yang said coldly. Old man, since you are the flame dragon Immortal Emperor's relative, it is up to you to repay some of his debt, but before that, I'm afraid I'll have to torture you a bit. With these words, Su Yang's face turned serious and he began to use the soul-searching technique. Soul binding can restrain the souls and nascent souls of those at a higher realm than one's own, but soul-searching is different. Su Yang can only search the memories of those at a lower realm than himself. If the opponent is higher, the soul search will fail. But Su Yang wanted to give it a try. Since the soul was right in front of him, he didn't want to miss a chance. Alice, it still doesn't work. Half a minute later, Su Yang shook his head. The result was obvious, he had failed. Soul searching was like scraping bones and pulling out tendons. Netherworld's nascent soul had long since collapsed, weakening drastically. Su Yang had no idea how the 10 individuals who had come to Earth were communicating with the flame dragon Immortal Emperor. Fearing further trouble, he simply dispersed Netherworld's spirit, eradicating it completely. After completely slaying Netherworld, Su Yang waved his hand, and a disc and dragon scales appeared in his palm. This disc looks like it's mass-produced, but the flame dragon Immortal Emperor is certainly willing to spend the money. Su Yang examined it and chuckled. I'm afraid the flame dragon Immortal Emperor has already prepared this disc to counteract the ominous influence. If he dispersed the power of his own imperial gear to create 10 similar discs, it would take at least 500 years for his imperial gear to recover to its peak. Su Yang wondered, didn't he and the other 2 Immortal Emperors orchestrate Earth's ominous influence? Why would he go to such great lengths to send his servants to Earth to avoid it? Could it be that Earth's so-called ominous influence wasn't orchestrated by the flame dragon Immortal Emperor and his group, but rather someone else? This thought flashed through Su Yang's mind. However, there was no point in overthinking such a vague matter. The truth would naturally come out when the time came. The disc is good. I have the Void Tower, so I won't need it, but I can give it to someone else. But there's the soul mark of the Netherworld Master on the disc, which makes it a bit tricky to deal with. Su Yang hesitated for a moment, then decided to remove the Master's mark right then and there. The same went for the dragon scales, so Su Yang decided to remove them all. After about half an hour, Su Yang succeeded. Now, the disc and dragon scales belonged to Su Yang, and with a thought, he stored them in his stored ring. Buzz! At the same time, a layer of Void Tower fragments suddenly broke through the air and appeared directly before Su Yang. Su Yang was about to rescue the Nangguang clan when he saw the Void Tower fragments floating before him. His brow furrowed, and he muttered to himself, Void Tower fragments, 6th floor, isn't the 6th floor of the Void Tower on Suchengyi? Why did it suddenly appear here? A sudden thought struck Su Yang, and his face grimly speculated, could Su Chengyu be dead, so the Void Tower fragments flew back to me? It's possible. And it's highly likely. The Nangguang clan, Su Yang was furious. He then collected the 6th floor Void Tower fragments, and in a flash, he quickly left Kunlun Mountain and headed straight for the Nangguang clan. Before his retreat, Su Yang had many things to do, such as seeing his mother, visiting Li Fixun in Jiangbei, and visiting Jilfang Mountain to see what Zuir had mentioned. Unfortunately, 6 months ago, Su Yang's strength was relatively weak, so retreat was the best option. Now, after emerging from seclusion, Su Yang had more to do, but those tasks would take a back seat. Saving the Nangguang family was paramount. After rescuing them, Su Yang would investigate the whereabouts of his friends and family, then explore Jilfang Mountain, the Fengshan site, before returning to Jiangbei to await the resurgence of spiritual energy. At this moment, beyond the realm, amidst the boundless Wukong, the flame dragon Immortal Emperor, sitting cross-legged, opened his eyes, a glint of fury blazing in his eyes. Yao Ming, he's dead. That was my uncle. What happened? Who killed him? The 10 masters of the spiritual transformation realm were all servants of the flame dragon Immortal Emperor. Although they had returned to Earth, the flame dragon Immortal Emperor had lost most of his spiritual communication with them, but he could still sense their survival. Just now, The flame dragon Immortal Emperor had noticed the annihilation of Yao Ming's Henren's body and soul, and he was instantly enraged. Xuantian Immortal Emperor, could it be you? The flame dragon Immortal Emperor, gazing down at the azure planet below, couldn't help but mutter to himself, his expression grim. Half a year ago, he sought out the White Jade Immortal Emperor Ubeiyu and the Tuoba Immortal Emperor Tuoba Bodhisattva, intending to combine their powers to create a breach, allowing 10 divine transformations to enter Earth while also sneaking in himself. He had everything ready, but the natural formation protecting Earth had been strengthened over the past 6 months. The Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor nearly made it in, but was ultimately squeezed out, leaving him to watch helplessly as the 10 divine transformations entered Earth. He considered lowering his realm to that of a divine transformation, allowing him to join the 10 divine transformations. However, this would have left the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor feeling insecure. A divine transformation realm would only bring him to the nascent soul realm upon Earth, a level too low to withstand the true power of Earth. Fearing a potential backlash from suppressing his realm and then releasing it upon arrival, the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor decisively abandoned the idea. When spiritual energy revives, the heavens and the earth will experience strange phenomena. That's my chance. 5 days left, the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor said coldly. Xuantian Immortal Emperor, I'll let you be arrogant for 5 more days. When I arrive on Earth, I'll be the first to eliminate you. Elsewhere, Su Yang, following the memories he had retrieved, made his way through the twists and turns, finally arriving at the Nanguang family as night fell. Chapter 670 Nanguang Family. At this moment, the Nanguang family. Unlike the Dongfang family, the Dongfang family's location is deep in the mountains. Meanwhile, the Nanguang family's estate is located in the suburbs of a southern city, covering an area of 400 to 500 acres. Its architectural style, a blend of Eastern and Western styles, complements each other beautifully, and it's clear that it cost a fortune. Today happens to be the 80th birthday of Nanguang Yu, the head of the Nanguang family. The Nanguang family's banquet is brightly lit, packed with guests, and the parking lot outside is filled with dozens, if not hundreds, of luxury cars. Originally, the Nanguang family was reclusive and unknown, but 6 months ago, they suddenly emerged and dominated half of the southern region. Prominent families from several surrounding provinces initially united in resistance, but in the end, they all submitted to the Nanguang family, becoming its minions and willingly giving away vast sums of their wealth. The reason was simple: the Nanguang family's immense strength. How could they dare continue to resist when even a single young descendant of the Nanguang family could easily defeat a master of the urban ancient martial arts world? Even the ancient clans of the surrounding mountains and rivers bowed to the Nanguang family. Thus, in just a few days, the Nanguang family became the dominant power in the south, their position unshakable. Now, Nanguang Yu, the head of the Nanguang family, was celebrating his 80th birthday. How could the wealthy and prominent families of the surrounding provinces not come? Hey, this is not a birthday celebration at all. They are obviously trying to fleece us. Most of our families have handed over half of their wealth to the Nanguang family, but the Nanguang family has not restrained themselves at all and are insatiable. Yes, the Nanguang family is a wolf that can never be fed. The future will be difficult. Keep your voices down. There are too many people and too many eyes. If these words get to the ears of the Nanguang family, we will definitely be in trouble. Yes. A few days ago, a century-old family in G-Port was wiped out by the Nanguang family because they were unwilling to hand over a piece of jade inherited from the family. It was really tragic. I heard that the people of the Nanguang family are all legendary cultivators. After taking control of the south, they plundered supplies for cultivation. They are determined to get anything that is useful to them. They will rob, or even kill people if they disagree. It is better for us to be honest. In the hall of the Nanguang family, nearly 100 wealthy family heads who attended the Nanguang royal birthday banquet were talking. They both loathed the Nanguang family and feared them like a tiger, daring to speak out. However, these people were unaware of the methods of cultivators, and their conversation had already fallen into the ears of Nanguang Yu, the head of the Nanguang family. At that moment, an elderly man in a red tang suit sat at the main seat in the hall. His face was wrinkled, his hair completely gone, his teeth completely gone, and his lips wrinkled. He leaned on a dragon-headed cane, his cloudy eyes looking down with a satisfied smile on his face. This man was the head of the Nanguang family, Nanguang Yu, who controlled the entire Nanguang clan. Next to Nanguang Yu stood a young man in his 20s. dressed in a navy blue tracksuit and bearing an imposing demeanor. At that moment, the young man in the tracksuit lowered his head, put his mouth close to Nan Guangyu's ear, and whispered, "Father, those old guys down there are gossiping about the Nan Guang family. I'm going to kill them as a warning to others." As soon as he finished speaking, the young man in the navy blue tracksuit's face darkened, and he made a killing gesture. 13. "Stop," Nan Guangyu gently called out to Ping Fang, his voice old and gentle as he smiled. "What did I teach you? Fighting and killing won't solve problems. Think carefully before you act. As the saying goes, think twice before you act." The young man in the navy blue tracksuit was Nan Guangyu's biological son, Nangong Shisenlang. In his early years, Nan Guangyu was too carefree and obsessed with women, which led to poor health. At the age of 60, he still had no children. Fortunately, with the help of Chang Feng, a master from outside the domain, he was able to have a son in his old age. This son, Nangong Shisenlang, was born. Because his lineage was dwindling, he named his son Shisenlang to show that he had many descendants. To outsiders, those who didn't know him would think he had 13 sons, with Shisenlang being the youngest. Having a son at the age of 60, Nan Guangyu doted on Nangguang Shisenlang and even trained him as the successor to the Nangguang family. Father is right. At this time, Nangguang Shisenlang nodded and said, "The child must follow the teachings and think more." "Yeah," Nan Guangyu said with satisfaction. "Child, although you eat, drink and have fun, you have poor talent and often cause trouble for me. You even dare to make fun of the little girl of the ancient clan, causing the Nangguang family to have to compensate the major ancient clans for your behavior, and suffered heavy losses. If it were anyone else, I would have executed him long ago. Do you know why I still love you?" Nan Guangyu asked with a smile. Nangong Shisenlang shook his head and said, "I don't know, haha, because you are my biological son, my biological son. If I don't spoil you, who should I spoil?" Nan Guangyu was very happy when he thought of having a son in his old age. He smiled with relief and said, "Shizen, go and prepare. Remember, you have to be ruthless and cut the weeds at their roots." "Father, what are you talking about, son?" Hearing his father's words, Nangguang Shisenlang was confused, but when he saw his father's eyes sweeping over those who were talking about the Nangguang family below, Nangguang Shisenlang reacted, but he was even more confused. He asked in confusion, "Father, didn't you say that we should be kind to others and think twice before acting?" "Yeah," Nangguangyu nodded, and then a coldness flashed in his eyes. "To be kind to others means to be kind to those we can't afford to offend. Not only should we be kind, but we should even be humble. But those family heads below are just ants in front of our Nangguang family." Nan Guangyu sneered, "How dare you, mere ants, talk about our Nangguang family? If we don't teach them a lesson, outsiders will think our Nangguang family is easy to bully." 13. You must remember, if you can't win, you must show weakness and flatter your superiors. If you can win, you must crush them and leave no one alive. This is the tenet of our Nangguang family, Nan Guangyu said coldly. "Yes," Nangguang Shisenlang nodded as if understanding, and then responded, "I will definitely not let you down. I will tear those old guys into pieces." "Well, that's better. Remember, capture them first and kill them tomorrow." Nan Guangyu smiled softly. "Today is my 80th birthday, so I won't see blood, okay?" Nangguang Shisenlang nodded, then seemed to think of something and asked, "Father, Grandpa has been dead for half a year. To this day, there is still no news of the murderer." Nangguang Shisenlang's grandfather, Nangguangyu's father, was Nangong Yin. Half a year ago, the Dongfang family convened a meeting of the 10 ancient clans, and Nangong Yin attended on behalf of the Nangguang family, only to disappear without a trace. The Nangguang family sent agents to look for him, but the Dongfang family claimed he had left after the meeting, as evidenced by the Ziyahao family's Ziyahao seal and representatives of various ancient clans. At first, Nangguangyu assumed Nangguang Yin had gone on some urgent business, but a few days later, someone discovered Nangguang Yin's body in the mountains 10 miles from the Nangguang family. Chapter 671. I think we can still save it. Nangguang Yin's death shocked the entire Nangguang family. Nangguangyu mobilized all the Nangguang family's forces to search for the murderer, but sadly, 6 months had passed with no results. "Alice," Nangguangyu sighed at the mention of his father's death, saying sadly, "The man was a master. There weren't a single clue left at the scene. I'm afraid we can't find him. 3 days ago, I ordered the investigation to cease. Besides, he's not your grandfather. He's dead, and the Nangong family is still thriving without him." Nangguang Yu said calmly. He's not my grandfather, Nangguang Shisanlang asked doubtfully. Father, why do you say that? He's clearly my grandfather. Do you know the Nangguang family's greatest treasure, the yin-yang Pisces? Nangguang Yu continued. Never mind. I'll tell you when we have the chance. Anyway, you should know that your grandfather died long ago. The body that was found 6 months ago was just a replica, so there's no need to be sad. Nangguang Shisanlang nodded, seemingly understanding, but didn't continue the conversation. 13. How are those people we brought from Kunlun Mountain doing now? Are they still honest? Nangguang Yu asked at this time. Reporting to father, one of them wanted to escape, but unfortunately, he was first injured by Lord Fengxi, and then his spiritual energy was sucked away by Lord Changfeng. He is just an ordinary person. I have already cut off his limbs and he is dying. Nangguang Shisanlang laughed coldly. I fed his limbs to the dogs. If nothing unexpected happens, that guy will not survive tonight. Haha, okay, you are worthy of being my son. You are perverted in doing things. I like it. Nangguang Yu nodded with satisfaction, and praised Nangguang Shisanlang without hesitation, and said, the Nangguang family has expanded rapidly recently. I am quite satisfied with many of the things you have done. Tell me, what reward do you want? Father, today is your birthday, and I should give you a gift. Between you and me, why say these things? Don't be so formal. I will give you whatever you want. Nangguang Yu smiled. Then, father, I'm telling you this. Nangguang Shisanlang felt a little embarrassed, then whispered, Father, that Nangguang Yaowei. I like her very much. Can you? No. Unexpectedly, Nangguang Yu, who always doted on his son, actually refused. He then said seriously, although Nangguang Yaowei was adopted by your grandfather, she is your sister. How can you have any bad intentions towards her? Also, and most importantly, that girl has been noticed by Master Fengxi. Before Master Fengxi left for Jilfang Mountain, he specifically instructed me to take good care of Nangguang Yaowei. He also said that he would practice cultivation with her upon his return. Nangguang Yu reminded him, Master Fengxi has only been on Earth for a short time, but his strength is obvious to all. Even Master Changfeng has to obey his orders. Our Nangguang family can act so arrogantly and occupy half of the south only because of Master Fengxi. You must never do anything that will anger him, Nangguang Yu solemnly declared. This matter concerns the survival of the entire Nangguang family. 13. You must be sensible and give up this idea as soon as possible. Yes. Upon hearing this, Nangguang Shisanlang's thoughts immediately faded. Although he was arrogant and domineering, he was well versed in the Nangguang family's culture and knew when to be arrogant and domineering. Next, the birthday banquet continued. The numerous guests in the hall, hampered by the Nangguang family's dominance, could only feign flattery. Elsewhere, Su Yang arrived at the Nangguang family compound and overheard the conversation between Nangguang Yu and Nangguang Shisanlang. Chopped off his limbs, dying, Su Yang narrowed his eyes slightly, naturally guessing that the person whose limbs had been severed was Su Qingyi. No wonder Su Qingyi's void tower fragments had left his body. He must have sensed that Su Qingyi was doomed. HMPH, I'll come back to kill you later. Instead of heading to the hall, Su Yang, using his powerful spiritual sense, headed straight for the place where Su Qingyi and the others were being held. Just now, Su Yang learned that the young master of Fengxi had already gone to Jilfang Mountain in southern Anhui. No one in the Nangguang family could stop Su Yang, so he had nothing to fear. Meanwhile, in the southeast corner of the Nangguang family compound, 10 meters underground, stood an elaborately crafted underground cell where the people of Kunlun Mountain were imprisoned. Within the cell, Su Qingyi, having lost all 4 limbs, lay on the ground, gritting her teeth in agony. Nearby, the people of Kunlun Mountain gazed upon Su Qingyi in grief, some even shedding tears. Su Qingyi, oh, it's our Su family who has let you down, Su Qianqan sighed. He had already tried to stop Su Qingyi's bleeding, but it was to no avail. If only the loss of limbs had been enough, a cultivator at the peak of the Jiandan realm might have had a glimmer of hope. But Su Qingyi, even before losing his limbs, had been severely injured and drained of his spiritual energy, reduced to an ordinary human being, a situation that was certain to end in death. Master. Young master, Su Qingyi looked at Su Qianqan, his breath weak, and he gritted his teeth and said, I, Su Qingyi, am a member of the Su family. Why do you say that the Su family has wronged me? Don't you regard me as one of your own? That's not what I meant, Alice. Su Qianqan sighed again, and then said seriously, "My father's 10 disciples are all my brothers and sisters. If it weren't for you back then. Forget it, let's not talk about the past, Su Qingyi, seeing you in so much pain, I can't bear it, so let the magic soldier send you on your last journey. You can go with peace of mind." Su Qianqian looked at Su Shenbing, his turbid eyes slightly reddened, and finally he gritted his teeth and said, "Magic soldier, send your uncle Su Qingyi on the road." "This, okay." Su Shenbing gritted his teeth and agreed, walked to Su Qingyi's side, and said with pain on his face, "Uncle Qingyi, I'm here to see you off on your last journey. I hope you can leave peacefully." Alice, Su Qingyi nodded, knowing that Su Qianqian and his son were doing this for her own good, to spare her pain, so she said, "Thank you, Shenbing, it's not a problem. I'll act quickly and I'll definitely make you smile in your grave," Su Shenbing said. Yes, Su Qingyi closed her eyes resignedly. Perhaps, for her, this was the best outcome. "Send Su Qingyi off," Su Qianqian said tearfully. The Su family members trapped in the prison all knelt on the ground, tearfully bidding Su Qingyi a final farewell. Su Shenbing didn't hesitate. Every second of delay meant another second of pain for Uncle Qingyi. So, Su Shenbing concentrated his spiritual energy and suddenly struck Su Qingyi's chest. Just then, Su Yang suddenly appeared, grabbed Su Shenbing's arm, and said with a soft smile, "Dad, don't rush to send him to his grave. I think he can still be saved." Chapter 672. The atmosphere has arrived and must be sent away. Here he comes. At the critical moment, Su Yang arrives, stopping Su Shenbing, who was about to send Su Qingyi to her grave. Swish, swish, swish. The next moment, everyone's eyes fell on Su Yang. The other people in Kunlun Mountain were not familiar with Su Yang, but they were not strangers either. Half a year ago, Su Yang brought Ali and Zeman Longine into Kunlun together, causing quite a stir. After that, Su Yang did something no one else could do, entering the light column of the protective formation, leaving a deep impression on everyone. Su Yang even set up a powerful protective formation that was breathtaking. It can be said that although these people in Kunlun Mountain had little contact with Su Yang, they were extremely in awe of him. Partly because of Su Yang's identity as a descendant of the Su family, and partly because of Su Yang's abilities. "Young master, it's the young master who is here. Is he the young master Su Yang? I was out before and didn't see the young master. He is so young. The young master has been in seclusion for half a year and is finally out. How did he show up just now? I was at the peak of the foundation building stage, but he didn't even notice." Jidan stage? The young master has at least entered the Jidan stage. It's only been half a year, and he has advanced from the early stage of foundation building to the Jidan stage. What a terrifying talent. No, the young master is still in the foundation building stage. It seems that he is at the peak of the foundation building stage. But why is he so strong? I don't even have the courage to resist him. When the group of people saw Su Yang, they immediately talked a lot, and their eyes were full of admiration when they looked at Su Yang. Su Yang, Su Qianqian's gaze fell on Su Yang, and he was instantly overjoyed. He excitedly said, "You kid, such a big thing happened in Kunlun the other day, and I couldn't get in touch with you. I thought something went wrong with your training and you died in the light column. Fuck, can't I get in touch with you? Does that mean I'm dead? Grandpa, can you please hope for me to get better?" Su Yang said with a sullen face. Ahem, Su Qianqian, slightly embarrassed, rubbed the bridge of his nose and explained, "It's human nature. It's your fault for not having any news. Your father and I were screaming outside for ages, our throats hoarse, but you didn't respond." "Well, Dad, I was the one screaming, and you just stood there and did nothing," Su Shenbing retorted with a hint of dissatisfaction, then shifted his gaze to Su Yang, his expression a complex mix of relief, worry, and pride. Su Yang had done so much since they last parted, and as a father, Su Shenbing naturally felt mixed emotions. "Su Yang, you're worthy of being my son. You didn't let me down. You did a great job." Finally, Su Shenbing patted Su Yang on the shoulder and praised him. "Dad, when have I ever let you down?" Su Yang replied with a smile. Little master, let's talk later. I'm in so much pain, I can't hold on any longer." At this moment, Su Qingyi's face turned pale, his voice broken, and he said weakly, "First, hiss, send me away first." Yes. Upon hearing this, Su Shenbing perked up and said, "Business is more important. Uncle Qingyi, are you ready?" I'll make you smile in your grave now, okay? Su Qingyi nodded with all his strength, urging Su Shenbing to act quickly with his eyes. Wait a minute. I have something here that will definitely be useful. At this moment, Su Qianqin seemed to remember something, and with a thought, he took out a suona from the storage ring, and then explained, this thing belongs to that kid Wang Fuye. He lived in Kunlun Mountain for a while, and he liked to stand on the top of the mountain and play the suona whenever he had nothing to do. I was free and thought it was interesting, so I learned a skill from him. Now I have made some progress. Su Qianqin continued, about 2 months ago, Wang Fuge was taken away by an old guy and left Kunlun Mountain. We had a mutual understanding, and he gave me the suona before leaving. I learned a few funeral songs, but I have never sent them off for others. Su Qianqin looked at Su Qingyi and said solemnly, Su Qingyi, hey, you and I have known each other for a while, so let me use my suona to send you off for the last time. As soon as the words fell, Su Qianqin began to play the suona skillfully. The melodious sound of a grand funeral procession echoed throughout the underground chamber, and an overwhelming sense of grief instantly erupted. Most of the people in the chamber were already deeply grief-stricken, but they were trying hard not to cry. Hearing about the procession, they recalled Su Qingyi's kindness and burst into tears. For a moment, the sound of sobbing, mingling with the grand funeral procession, was a moving scene. Uncle Qingyi, goodbye. Su Shenbing's tears also flowed, and he closed his eyes slightly, his hand about to fall. Ah, Su Qingyi. At this moment, Su Yang sighed, his face filled with sorrow, and said, I had originally intended to save your life, to keep you from dying, but now the situation has become so tense. You must be sent away anyway. I won't intervene, Dad, do it, and do it quickly, or it will be a shame to such a sad atmosphere. Stop. Before anyone could react, Su Qingyi suddenly perked up. If his legs hadn't been chopped off, he would have jumped up to express his excitement. Young master, what did you just say? Su Qingyi looked at Su Yang expectantly and asked, I still have the chance to be saved, of course, not to mention you're not dead yet. Even if you only have half a breath left, I can give you a new lease on life, Su Yang replied confidently, then said, but look, the atmosphere is so exciting now. The funeral has been arranged, and my father is ready to send you off with a smile. Otherwise, you'd be sorry for everyone's tears. Fuck you. Su Qingyi was so anxious that she almost cursed. Just now, she and Su Qianqin had played out a life and death farewell with deep affection and loyalty. But now she glared at them both fiercely, wanting to spit at each of them to express her inner frustration. Su Qianqin reacted and quickly put away his suona. He was already feeling awkward, and now it was even more awkward. He urged, if you can really save Su Qingyi, do it now. Why are you still standing there? That's right, Su Yang, are you kidding us? Hurry up and save her. It's such a shame to be joking around at this hour, Su Shenbing rebuked Su Yang, trying to ease his embarrassment. Haha, Su Yang chuckled softly, then turned to look at Su Qingyi lying on the ground, his attention becoming serious. Then, he mobilized the spiritual energy around him and began to heal Su Qingyi. At this point, the 9 revolutions rejuvenation needle was no longer effective, as Su Qingyi was a cultivator at the Jinden stage. And the 9 revolutions rejuvenation needle was only effective on ordinary people or ancient martial artists of lower realms. However, Su Yang, as the Xuantian Immortal Emperor, had seen a lot and had even read and studied the sacred medical texts. Saving Su Qingyi's life was no problem. After more than 10 minutes of struggling, Su Yang finally stopped. During this process, everyone present held their breath, their gazes respectfully fixed on Su Yang. Haha, you've seen enough, haven't you? Stop hiding and come out. Su Yang withdrew his treatment, but at the same time, he released a terrifying aura. He stared at the air at 7 o'clock and said sternly, what? Do you need me to dig you out? In the underground chamber, besides the Kunlun Mountain group, there was another person, lurking in the shadows, their presence extremely subtle. Of course, Su Yang couldn't sense them. He was aware of their presence even before he entered the chamber. However, Su Yang prioritized protecting Su Qingyi, so he didn't take the initiative. Earlier, while Su Yang was treating Su Qingyi, the person had been staring at him, but he ignored them. Now that Su Yang had saved Su Qingyi, he naturally wouldn't feign ignorance anymore. He spoke coldly. Buzz! Su Yang's words caused chaos at the scene, and everyone looked around in panic. However, More than 10 seconds passed, and the person hiding in the shadows still did not appear. HMPH, you don't know how to appreciate my kindness. Seeing this, Su Yang snorted coldly, and then punched out. A terrifying fist shadow instantly smashed towards the 7 o'clock position. Bang! The powerful impact instantly caused smoke and dust to rise up at the scene, and the sound shook the sky. When the smoke and dust cleared, an old man in a blue robe appeared at the 7 o'clock position. The old man's white hair fell on his shoulders, and his face was covered with wrinkles. His eyes radiated a cold light as he stared at Su Yang intently. "You, when did you discover me?" the long-haired old man demanded. Su Yang met the gaze of the long-haired old man and sneered, "Why, you are very confident in your body skills and think that I should not sense your existence, right?" "Yes," the long-haired old man said coldly, "looking at your breath, you are only at the peak of the foundation building stage, and I have already stepped into the early stage of the nascent soul. You can't know my location. Also, why is your strength so powerful, completely beyond the foundation building stage? Do I need to answer you?" Su Yang raised his eyebrows, then sneered, "On the contrary, you, tell me your name, maybe I can save you some pain." "Huh? What a joke." The long-haired old man laughed in anger, and said with a gloomy face, "My name is Chang Feng, and I came to Earth more than 100 years ago. You are Su Yang." Su Yang, a descendant of the Su family. "You started the ancient martial arts reform half a year ago and have the Void Tower. Am I right?" Chang Feng said lightly. "Indeed." Su Yang smiled, then continued, "Old man, you told me your name because you want an intact corpse." "No." Chang Feng shook his head, his tone icy. "I'm telling you this only so you know who killed you. When the King of Hell asks you about it in the underworld, you can answer, lest you become a wandering ghost." Without hesitation, Chang Feng attacked with a sullen expression, his spiritual energy surging. "Early nascent soul stage? You should have been at the peak of core formation stage, right? Haha. It seems you've made some progress." Su Yang chuckled softly. "If it were half a year ago, I really wouldn't have been able to defeat you, but now, I won't have to use my full strength to fight you." Su Yang spoke, then activated the 9-nether prison suppression technique and proactively confronted Chang Feng. After 6 months of seclusion, Su Yang had advanced from the early foundation establishment stage, across core formation, and into the early nascent soul stage. Originally, during his retreat, he thought he could only reach core formation at best, but who knew that within a 1-meter radius of the beam of light, the advancement would be so effortless. After 2 months of seclusion, Su Yang had already reached the Jinden stage, and much of the cultivation supplies in his storage ring remained. Therefore, Su Yang did not emerge from seclusion, choosing instead to strive for higher realms, ultimately successfully reaching the nascent soul stage. Strangely, upon reaching the nascent soul stage, no thunder tribulation struck. Over 100 years ago, when his great-grandfather, Su Wuji, was striving for the nascent soul stage, a thunder tribulation struck. It was because of that thunder tribulation that Su Wuji disappeared, and no one has heard of him since. This is indeed quite strange. Su Yang speculated that this might be related to the protective light pillar, which shielded the heavens from the thunder tribulation. In short, at this moment, Su Yang was already in the early nascent soul stage. His opponent, Chang Feng, was originally a Huishan. Upon arriving on Earth over 100 years ago, he only remained at the peak of the nascent soul stage. He was later defeated and reduced to the Jinden stage. Although he had reached the nascent soul stage, he was only at the early nascent soul stage. With Su Yang's combat power, he was nearly invincible even at the same major realm, let alone at the same minor realm. The battle lasted only 2 or 3 minutes before it was over. Su Yang's weapons were useless. His 100 reincarnation fists severely wounded Chang Feng, causing him to vomit blood and barely breathe. "No, ahem, you're not at the peak of foundation establishment. You've hidden your realm. You've also reached the nascent soul stage." Chang Feng lay on the ground, clutching his chest in horror, saying, "6 months ago, you were only at the early stages of foundation establishment. In just 6 months, you've advanced to the nascent soul stage. What a terrifying talent. Who are you? You're destined to die. Why are you asking so many questions?" Su Yang replied coldly. "You?" Chang Feng was a little scared. To save his life, he hurriedly said, "Su Yang, you'd better not kill me. I see that the realm you just revealed is only the early nascent soul stage, and some time ago, My master teamed up with 2 other immortal emperors to send 10 cultivators at the god transformation stage to Earth. Although their realm was affected by their arrival on Earth, they still possess the strength of the peak of the nascent soul stage. Chang Feng continued, the strongest among them is named Fengxi, and he's my son. You are no match for him. So, Su Yang, you can't kill me. Don't bring trouble upon yourself. Oh, Su Yang looked at Chang Feng. He didn't expect this man to have such a relationship with Master Fengxi. But why would he be afraid of Master Fengxi? It's just, Su Yang couldn't use the soul-searching secret technique on people of the same realm, so he wanted to ask more questions. So he said, Master Fengxi, I am really afraid of him, but things have come to this point, and I can't just let you go. How about this? Tell me, what mission did Master Fengxi and his men bring to Earth? Since you are Master Fengxi's father, you should know it very well, right? Su Yang asked coldly. P.S. Happy May Day holiday, everyone. Chapter 673, full of treasures. Earlier in Kunlun Mountain, when Su Yang had slain Master Yaoming, he had heard some information from him. Not all of the 10 divine transformation masters knew that Su Yang was Su Xuantian. This was evident from Chang Feng's earlier questioning of Su Yang's identity. The young Master Fengxi must have been unaware of Su Yang's identity, otherwise he would have told his father, and Chang Feng wouldn't have asked for Su Yang's name. At this point, Chang Feng hesitated, his gaze evasive, and he didn't answer directly. HMPH, Su Yang snorted coldly, his face as gloomy as water. If you refuse to tell me, don't blame me for being rude. I will kill you now and hide afterwards. I believe your son, Master Fengxi, will not be able to find me, Chang Feng, right? Your son is now at the peak of the nascent soul stage and is almost invincible on Earth, Su Yang continued. Moreover, as far as I know, your master, the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor, cannot know all the specific events that have occurred on Earth. The good days for you and your son on Earth have just begun. You should know that Earth is a place that even the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor is attracted to. Perhaps you and your son can get a great opportunity on Earth, and then break through to the realm of transcending tribulation, or even the realm of Immortal Emperor. Who knows, Su Yang said temptingly, as long as there is green mountains, there is no fear of running out of firewood. Chang Feng, think carefully before answering my questions. Su Yang, okay, I can tell you. After hearing this and feeling Su Yang's murderous intent, Chang Feng finally gritted his teeth and said, my son, Master Fengxi, and 9 other masters have come to Earth to kill the Blood Demon. Half a year ago, the aura of the Blood Demon appeared in Wudang Mountain. He seemed to be reborn, so my master joined forces with the 2 immortal emperors to tear open a gap and send 10 god transformations to Earth. Chang Feng looked at Su Yang and continued, it's a long story about the Blood Demon. He was originally, I know his story, so I don't need you to repeat it. Su Yang interrupted and then asked, are the 10 god transformation masters who came this time secretly at peace? Of course. Chang Feng paused obviously, and then said, they are all subordinates of the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor. They have no grudges against each other. When they came to Earth this time, they had agreed to be united against the outside world. Really? Su Yang smiled playfully when he heard this. Then why would Yaoming be furious when he really went to Kunlun Mountain and learned that Master Fengxi had looted Kunlun Mountain? Chang Feng looked embarrassed and hesitated. At this moment, Su Yang stepped forward and said grimly, if you dare to lie again, I will destroy you both physically and spiritually. No, I'll tell you. Chang Feng, filled with fear, could only speak. When they visited Earth some time ago, the 10 divine transformations not only had their realms reduced, but also suffered varying degrees of injuries. Among them, True Man Yaoming was the most seriously injured. He, under the leadership of Jian Chen, went to the Dongfeng clan to recuperate. As for the other 9 divine transformations, they recovered after a simple breath recuperation and began to plunder Earth-famous mountains. Chang Feng continued, naturally dissatisfied. True Man Yaoming proposed replacing the numerous famous mountains with only one, Kunlun Mountain. Only he could set foot on Kunlun Mountain, while the other 9 would be left to plunder. True Man Yaoming's strength was among the top 3 among the 10. The others, not wanting to offend True Man Yaoming, agreed to his proposal. At this point, Chang Feng revealed a hint of pride and said confidently, but my son, young Master Fengxi, is the strongest of them all, so naturally we are not afraid of him. Kunlun Mountain has always been called the Immortal Mountain by the people of Earth. The ancient Starry Sky Road and the Guardian Array are both located there. My son only pretended to agree at the time and didn't take the agreement to heart, Chang Feng said. So, my son went to Kunlun Mountain and plundered it completely, but the ancient Starry Sky Road and the Guardian Array were too powerful and mysterious for him to understand. Besides, he also wanted to plunder the resources of other famous mountains, so he didn't stay for long. Chang Feng looked at Su Yang and continued, Su Yang, I've told you everything I need to say. Can you let me go now? Don't worry, I haven't finished asking. Su Yang smiled and said lightly, isn't Master Fengxi and the others' mission to kill the blood demon? Why are they all seizing famous mountains? Killing the blood demon is just one of their tasks. The flame dragon Immortal Emperor also ordered them to control the entire earth and prevent the revival of spiritual energy, so as to force the powerful cultivators hiding on earth. Chang Feng no longer concealed anything and told whatever he knew. In order to track down the blood demon, the Immortal Emperor Yanlong gave a magic weapon that can accurately find the blood demon's location. Among the 10 people, 3 have already gone to kill him. According to the Immortal Emperor Yanlong's judgment, the blood demon was resurrected half a year ago. Even if half a year has passed, on Earth with scarce spiritual energy, he has at most recovered to the nascent soul stage and is not a threat. The 3 of them going to kill him have already given the blood demon enough face. Chang Feng continued, although we won't be able to divide up the famous mountain if we kill the blood demon is covered with treasures, and the 3 of them can distribute them among themselves. The 3 of them can't wait to go. What do you mean the blood demon is covered with treasures? Su Yang asked puzzledly. Every Emperor Realm expert must cultivate their own imperial weapon before they can enter the Emperor Realm, Chang Feng explained. When the blood demon was at his strongest, he was at the quasi-Emperor Realm, naturally possessing an imperial weapon, and the path he took was extremely rare. His imperial weapon was his physical body, powerful enough to conquer the 9 heavens and 10 earths, Chang Feng continued. Back then, my master, the Immortal Emperor Yanlong, suffered a loss and was severely injured after killing him. In short, the blood demon's physical body is a rare treasure, possessing the power of an emperor, and countless cultivators flock to it. I see, Su Yang thought of Wang Fuga's arm. No wonder it had unleashed such powerful force that day. Then, Su Yang thought of something else and asked curiously, since you all know that there are more powerful cultivators on Earth, why do you still dare to seize Earth-famous mountains? Aren't you afraid that the cultivators hidden in the shadows will emerge and wipe you all out? Those people wouldn't dare, Chang Feng responded. Those people are fine if they don't use spiritual energy. Once they do, they will be corroded by the ominous power, suffering unbearably, and lose their combat capability. Of course, among those people, it is said that there are masters at the quasi-emperor level, possessing imperial artifacts that can ignore the ominous power, Chang Feng continued, but those people are even more afraid to take action. Thousands of years ago, they hid in the shadows like rats, and my master was worried about finding them. If they dared to come forward, they would naturally be spotted by my master, and they would surely die. Is that so? Su Yang looked at Chang Feng and frowned. Master Fengxi is such a person. He possesses some artifacts that embody imperial power to avoid the ominous power. Isn't he afraid of Earth's preparations and also makes similar artifacts for his subordinates or disciples to take action? Chapter 674 He is my son, you can't kill him. Yes, Chang Feng replied, but they won't, because then my master will also be able to track down the quasi-emperor. I see, Su Yang nodded, suddenly realizing. As the two were talking, Nangguangyu and Nangguang Shisanlang suddenly rushed in, leading a group of Nangguang clan experts. The commotion between Su Yang and Chang Feng had just occurred, so it was understandable that they were startled. Master Chang Feng, what happened? Nangguangyu, standing at the front, asked respectfully. Godfather, are you injured? Nangguang Shisanlang hurried over and helped Chang Feng to his feet. Hearing Nangguang Shisanlang address Chang Feng as godfather, Nangguangyu felt no envy, but instead a smug smile. He had initiated this godparent relationship. Chang Feng had been very kind to Shisanlang since childhood, even personally teaching him the art of cultivation. Despite his lack of talent, Chang Feng still spared no effort in his guidance. Nangguangyu witnessed all of this and was deeply grateful for Changgong's dedication to his son. He could also see that Chang Feng truly doted on Shisanlang, and so, long before, he had begged Chang Feng to adopt Shisanlang as his adopted son. Chang Feng didn't refuse, but gladly accepted, and from then on, he worked even harder to teach Shisanlang. Every time they drank, Nangguangyu congratulated himself on his ability to have a son in his old age. and to use his son to firmly tie the Nanguang family to Lord Changfeng. He was truly too wise. Shizhen, please step back and leave with your father. I'll handle this. Changfeng glanced at Su Yang, his expression rather serious, and then pushed Nanguang Shisenlang away, urging him to leave. Godfather, why are you so nervous? Nanguang Shisenlang's gaze fell on Su Yang, and he said with a sense of utter indifference, who is this kid? Where did he come from? I don't remember him being in the prison. Let's go. Changfeng stared at Nanguang Yu and said solemnly, Master Nanguang, take Shisenlang away. Nanguang Yu had already realized that something was amiss. Lord Changfeng had actually panicked. It wasn't a good time to stay here for long. So, Nanguang Yu, without giving any explanation, dragged Nanguang Shisenlang away, but it was too late. Stop. At this moment, Su Yang's face was as gloomy as water, and he said coldly, since you're here, stay. This will save me from going out to look for you. As soon as he finished speaking, Su Yang's figure flashed, and in an instant he appeared in front of Nanguang Shisenlang, sternly saying, You tortured Su Chengyi and cut off his limbs. Today, I will cut off all 5 of your limbs. Puff. After saying this, Su Yang suddenly raised his hand, and a stream of spiritual energy, like a sharp blade, instantly severed Nanguang Shisenlang's legs. Instantly, blood spurted out, and Nanguang Shisenlang fell to the ground, screaming in agony. Su Yang, you, Changfeng reacted with a rage, but he didn't dare to fight Su Yang again. He hurried forward to stop Nanguang Shisenlang's bleeding. This is just the beginning. Su Yang's eyes were cold, without a trace of mercy, and he was about to sever Nanguang Shisenlang's arms. Sir, at this moment, Nanguang Yu rushed over, blocking Nanguang Shisenlang. Although he didn't know who Su Yang was, he could tell the young man before him was a master he couldn't afford to provoke. He knelt on the ground and pleaded, I only have one son, 13, and he was born in my old age. I've spoiled him. Which is why he's so arrogant. Please give him another chance. Don't kill him. I'm willing to sacrifice my own life, just to spare his. Nanguang Yu's eyes were red, tears welling in them as he pleaded with Su Yang, even willing to sacrifice his own. He's him, you're you. Do you think anyone in the Nanguang family has a chance of survival today? Su Yang's glare was fierce. He had committed countless massacres of clansmen and families. In the world of cultivation, the strong prey on the weak, and decisive killing is a must. Therefore, Su Yang didn't hesitate, unleashing another burst of spiritual energy, slashing at Nanguang Shisenlang. Nanguang Shisenlang, having lost both legs, lay on the ground screaming in pain, naturally unable to resist. Changfeng, standing nearby, was no match for Su Yang. He simply shouted, Stop, Su Yang, you can't kill him. As Changfeng spoke, Su Yang's attack had already landed. But Nanguang Yu, desperate to protect his son, blocked Su Yang's spiritual energy with his own body. Puff. The next moment, half of Nanguang Yu's arm was severed, blood gushing out. But he didn't flinch. He stood before his son, spitting blood and gritting his teeth, saying, 13, don't be afraid. As long as I'm alive, I won't let you die. Even if I have to, I'll die before you. Nanguang Yu's eyes were determined, his expression filled with helplessness yet unwavering resolve, clearly swearing to protect his son to the death. However, Nanguang Shisenlang didn't even look at Nanguang Yu, even scoffing at his efforts. At this moment, Nanguang Shisenlang looked at Changfeng and pleaded, Godfather, save me, my child. Changfeng met Nanguang Shisenlang's gaze, his emotions also very strong. Then he turned his gaze to Su Yang and said, Su Yang, I don't care about the lives of the other members of the Nanguang family, but you can't kill Nanguang Shisenlang. Just give me face, and I will speak well of you to my son, Master Fengxi, and ask him to treat you well. I can even ask him to take you as a subordinate and ensure that from now on you will have everything you want on earth. Changfeng said solemnly, I swear on my soul that if I break this oath, my body and soul will be destroyed, and I will never be reborn. A cultivator's true oath is no joke. If you break it, you will leave behind a demon in your heart that will never be erased. Seeing this, Nanguang Yu smiled and felt deeply grateful to Changfeng. Master Changfeng, thank you so much. I never thought you would swear such a cruel oath to save my son. Nanguang Yu, am deeply grateful, Nanguang Yu said with a trembling voice. Your oath is useless. I can spare you, Master Fengxi, by giving you the benefit of the doubt. But you want to save someone you have no connection with. That's embarrassing. I don't agree. Su Yang smiled playfully and immediately moved to kill Nangong Shisanlang. It does matter. Who said it doesn't matter? Nangong Shisanlang, terrified by Su Yang's murderous intent, cried, Godfather, I don't want to die. Please, tell him about my relationship with you. Godfather, godson, you're useless to me. Your name is Nangong Shisanlang, right? Stop struggling. Prepare to die. Su Yang stepped forward, murderous intent in his eyes. Su Yang, at this moment, Chang Feng suddenly spoke up, stop. He's my biological son, Fengxi's biological brother. Fengxi has always valued brotherhood. If you kill him, you will completely infuriate Fengxi. He will kill you even if you're on the other side of the world. Everyone present was stunned, especially the Nangguang family's masters. A biological son? Nangong Shisanlang was Chang Feng's biological son. Doesn't that mean the patriarch was cheated on? Nearby, Nangguang Yu had been prepared to fend off Su Yang with his life, but upon hearing these words, his expression froze, as if struck by lightning. Chapter 675, Shut up, old man. Today is Nangguang Yu's 80th birthday. He lived to the age of 80, having spent the previous 20 or 30 years diligently cultivating, vying with his brothers for the position of patriarch. Through his talent and hard work, Nangguang Yu achieved his goal, becoming the young master of the Nangguang family at the age of 20 and successfully taking over the Nangguang family before turning 30. Both his father, Nangguang Yin, and Lord Changfeng, the head of the Nangguang family, favored him greatly. At that moment, Nangguang Yu was filled with pride and elation, but he still harbored one regret, his childlessness. To this end, Nangguang Yu tried countless women, visited hospitals large and small, and even abroad. He even sought folk remedies, all in his quest for a child. Unfortunately, Nangguang Yu's efforts for 30 years proved fruitless. For him, leaving behind an heir was far more challenging than becoming the head of the family. At the age of 60, Nangguang Yu was overcome with depression, realizing that he was reaching old age. Even though cultivators have longer lifespans than ordinary people, he feared he would have difficulty having children. Nangguang Yu was devastated, drowning his sorrows in alcohol and becoming depressed. Unexpectedly, the beautiful campus belle he had just found in the university town was pregnant. After 30 years of unsuccessful attempts, suddenly, one day, his woman was pregnant. Nangguang Yu was overjoyed, gifting the beautiful campus belle a villa worth over 100 million yuan and even transferring 5% of the Nangguang family's shares to her. He even promised her an additional 5% if she gave birth. That's 5% of the Nangguang family, a value inestimable. However, the financial reward was only one aspect of the deal. To care for the pregnant campus belle, Nangguang Yu delegated all matters of the Nangguang family to others that year, becoming his personal assistant, handling everything himself and caring for the pregnant woman with all his heart. Even on the day Nangguang Shisanlang was born, Nangguang Yu was busy preparing everything, even choosing the milk powder and diapers himself, and even missing out on delivering the baby himself. After Nangguang Shisanlang was born, Nangguang Yu took care of him wholeheartedly and did not even hire a confinement nanny. At that time, he was already in his 60s, and he stayed up late every day to take care of the baby, and he never got tired of it. It is no exaggeration to say that in the past 20 years, Nangguang Yu has given everything he has to Nangguang Shisanlang, and has given it without reservation. But only at this moment did he realize that Nangguang Shisanlang was not his biological son. Lord Changfeng, whom he had always been respectful to, actually cheated on him. Nangguang Shisanlang is just Lord Changfeng's. At this moment, Nangguang Yu felt dizzy, his world collapsed in an instant, his head was buzzing, and his face was full of disbelief. No, this is impossible. After a pause of a few seconds, Nangguang Yu ignored his injured arm and said hysterically, Lord Changfeng, this is not true, are you kidding? Haha, it must be a joke. Lord Changfeng wants to use this to keep 13 and use the name of Master Fengxi to pressure Su Yang to let Su Yang show mercy. Nangguang Yu comforted himself, it must be like this, Lord Changfeng, I am not wrong. Oh, so that's the case. Su Yang, who was next to him, smiled when he heard this and said playfully, since it's not true. I'm sorry, Nangguang Shisanlang, you can't escape today. Nangguang Yu came back to his senses when he heard this, and thought to himself that he really deserved to die. How could he say these things in front of Su Yang? Isn't this harming 13? So, Nangguang Yu hurriedly said, Sir, I was just talking nonsense. 13 is indeed the son of Lord Changfeng and a brother of Master Fengxi. Never mind. In order to keep 13 alive, he had no choice but to cooperate with Lord Changfeng in his acting. Who are you trying to fool? Su Yang smiled softly and said, speaking of this now will only make things worse. Master Nangguang, do you think I will believe it? As he spoke, Su Yang was about to take action. Sir, it was really me before. Nangguang Yu was ready to explain again, but Nangong Shisanlang, who was lying on the ground, gnashed his teeth and said with disgust, old thing, shut up. What do you know? I have been the son of Lord Changfeng from the beginning to the end. Who is playing tricks on you? Nangguang Shisanlang stared at Nangguang Yu coldly, and then said, if it weren't for this relationship, how could Lord Changfeng take such good care of me? I'm good for nothing, with very poor talent for cultivation, eating, drinking and having fun, and causing trouble everywhere. Why does Lord Changfeng like me? Nangguang Shisanlang laughed like crazy. Also, don't you find that I look a lot like Lord Changfeng? Don't you look at what you look like a pumpkin, and me, as handsome as jade, elegant and graceful? Nangguang Shisanlang said coldly, these are naturally inherited from Lord Changfeng. Old man, I know full well how good you've been to me. I hadn't intended to tell you this, but something happened today. If I didn't, I'd be dead. I had no choice but to tell you. Nangguang Shisanlang sneered, that's good. It'll make you face reality sooner. Buzz. Nangong Shisanlang's words were like knives, piercing Nangong Yu's heart, each one fatal. Pain. Pain so severe it took my breath away. Nangguang Yu's heart was torn apart, tears welling up instantly. He looked at Nangguang Shisanlang with a complicated expression. It was heartbreaking to see the son he had raised with so much pain say such cruel words. But calming down, Nangguang Yu realized that Nangguang Shisanlang wasn't lying. Indeed, Lord Changfeng came from outside the domain, had the support of a prominent figure from the transcendent realm, and was incredibly powerful. Why would such a figure care for Shisanlang for no apparent reason? Furthermore, Shisanlang did bear a resemblance to Changfeng. Nangguang Yu had noticed this long ago, but hadn't thought much about it. Now it seems that Nangguang Shisanlang is indeed not his son. Ah! Nangguang Yu let out a scream, and then said sadly, 20 years, these 20 years I have given everything, but I am raising someone else's son. I hate it, I hate it. Hearing Nangguang Yu's roar, many masters of the Nangguang family at the scene looked at each other. Changfeng showed a trace of guilt, while Nangong Shisanlang just sneered. Nangguang Yu, then, Nangguang Shisanlang said, don't you look at your own identity and status? You are just the head of the family on earth. What qualifications do you have to be my father? I should feel fortunate that my biological father Changfeng took the lead and I became his son, not yours. Nangguang Shisanlang sneered, otherwise, I'm afraid I would die here today. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.